it was sucking.
Oh, it's not showing me. It's not showing. It's not showing me chat again. No, I don't know
There's
why.
chat here.
Well, no. I'm talking about OBS.
Oh, a chat.
I would I would
Hmm.
use the technology that would are at our disposal.
Oh, never
We
mind. There
have
it
the
is.
technology.
It shows me. Never mind. It's I have to make sure because sometimes OBS doesn't show you everything. Um,
If I were you, I would just have like an chat GPT up in a tab during podcasts.
Oh no!
ChatGPT.
Yeah.
What is it
You can
doing?
you
Is it
can
gonna like?
you could take screenshots and you can send them to ChatGPT and you can ask them questions. Like
Is that
and
what they
it
do
will
on the EFAP thing when they it's like they ask the chat and it's and then they send it to GPT.
No, they actually have people watching in their chat they can ask.
No. I mean like when like the
I
summary.
think that's just.
No.
I think that's not ChatGPT. I think that's YouTube. I think
No,
there's
that's
Yeah.
something
YouTube.
with YouTube where it will generate, like, it will try to surmise
Mm-hmm.
what the
So
video is about based on chat's replies.
Google has
Okay.
its own AI.
Yeah.
Facebook has its
I
own
would assume.
AI,
I would
and
assume.
so yeah.
Because I know like all I've been advertised lately is we have an AI that helps you, and I'm like, I'm good. Like,
Yeah, just use chat. Just if you just use Chat GPT, that one's free and
uh,
works wonders. It's been super helpful as a
need to,
tool.
I need to find a way to put chat on the screen. I think that'd be neat.
Chat,
Perfect.
chat, chat.
That's a perfect question for Chat GPT. I'm not fucking joking.
I know it's just weird to say. It's like when I think AI is a sensitive subject, so it's like people hear AI and they go and they cringe.
Huh? People need to get over it
I
because
know.
people said the same thing about computers.
Hmm.
People who used to program code, they used to do it all on sheets and stamps. They
Are,
didn't even use computers.
are you talking about like the card things that go into the machine?
Yes.
Hmm. All right.
Yeah.
I don't think those are the same thing as like having AI write for your scripts or anything like that.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about a technology that is going to be embraced and
Hmm.
utilized as a tool. It'll be
Of
it's I
course.
do believe that that technology is the same, if on the same level as computation was in the 70s.
I remember I was during my study of art during college, they would say it's like people there were certain people taking photographs and it's like I wouldn't dare touch my my photographs with any sort of digital technology that ruins its purity. And it's like that is definitely not the way these days.
Well,
So, mm,
what I think people get caught up in is they say like, oh, like AI is gonna like totally negate all of these programmers' jobs. It's like, no, it's what the future is going to look like is basically people are going to be able to utilize programming in a it's going to basically appeal to a wider audience. Like more people will be using Linux, more people will be learning to program, and the people who learn how to
mm,
use AI as a tool, those are the people that are going to be ahead
I use it
first.
as a tool.
Well, it is. That's the end of the day. It is a tool like anything else.
Absolutely.
It's like saying calculators are going to replace mental math. It's just nonsense.
Um, I
Yeah,
it's
I think
I
more often than
uh,
not, I've used mental math nor calculators, at least for basic stuff.
I've always like sort of equated it with like Photoshop or any sort of digital improvement software where it's
I guess
you know
I guess the thing I'd probably say is that AI is a little bit, I guess, a little bit trickier because of the nature of AI, being that it
yes.
often takes material from other stuff too.
Hmm.
Well, in regards to like art, I would agree, but I'm talking about like general tasks, Like,
Mhm.
Oh yeah,
say
like
I can come up with a formula and a table to, let's say, like do an estimate to do some work, or like for some contract work, or I can ask the AI to create an app that does all those calculations for me.
It can summarize it too. So it's like,
It can summarize it, it
Mhm.
can put it in a PDF, it can send the email, it can do everything all at once. I had to, it all had to come from somewhere though.
It's
So,
there's a certain amount of human error that the AI just can't comprehend. So to say
well, AI,
it gets rid
especially when
of
it comes,
humans is
yeah,
ridiculous.
when it comes to programming, for example, AI is a good as an assistant tool, but you have to still know what you're doing, because AI
Mhm.
can present you with a lot of solutions that seem to work, but then when you put them all together, it'll produce new errors that it couldn't account for.
Sounds like Disney. Anyways, but and how they do movies, but we're not here to talk about AIs or anything like that. Talk about video games and all that stuff. And of course, like uh who's the guy who did the Cuphead? Was that
Dean Takahashi.
Dean Takahashi? Yeah, that's him. That's the guy
yeah,
who
Dean
did
Dean is
the
probably the most. He probably has the most like
infamous.
infamous
Yeah.
kind of review. The
Oh,
guy is pretty popular in
that and
like
Doom
most
Eternal.
circles. Oh, he reviewed Doom Eternal, right?
Yeah, yeah, no, he got footage for it. I don't know if he reviewed it or not. All I know is that he got that footage and he couldn't jump over the what was it? You know that part where you have to hop over those lava lines and you have to jump to each platform? It's very early on in the game.
Yeah,
Uh
I think I know. Yeah.
yeah, and
Yeah, that's like it's tricky, but you can do it. It's pretty easy to do.
it's not that tricky. It's pretty basic. And he couldn't do it. He kept dying. And it's like this is like basic 3D platforming. I mean, first person, I should
It's like
say.
it's literally I'm pretty sure that segment is literally like training the player to
Correct.
understand the platforming.
It's a tutorial on jumping, and so that's the face of the video. So I'm like,
What is the secret to Mario's jump?
well, the secret is that like momentum and physics when it comes to Mario's jump and how you press the button. Um, the thing about platforming is that if you tap the button, he'll jump less. That's the secret. The longer you jump it, the longer you hold
The
it,
longer you hold
the
it.
further he jumps. It's like it's very intuitive. Um, but the so yeah. In fact, it got me thinking about what a tutorial should be and and what it shouldn't be, sort
Uh,
of.
I mean, I guess in this case, the basic idea of a tutorial is just it's teaching the player the mechanics.
Mm, I don't like the redundant sort of tutorial, so they tell you absolutely everything up front. It's like, how I guess I'm just supposed to remember all that, unless it's like really basic, um, or like they give you like 5 paragraphs for each tutorial. It's like just let me. I just want to play the game. I don't need to be stopped and told things. It
Let
feels
me
yeah.
play.
It depends on the game though. If there's like a complexities to it, then you need to be told these complexities. Um,
I think something I always liked was when I was playing Baldur's Gate 3. That game has like no tutorial. Like barely has any tutorial.
is that the natural tutorial, or if it's just like
It kind of just gives you all the buttons and expects you to experiment. Like you
mhm.
kind of it's up to you to figure out how to jump, how to use your abilities, how each of your abilities work, how the rolls work. It's like it doesn't really have a lot of tutorials.
It just doesn't hold your hand when it comes
Yeah.
to doing things, which is I think it's called the invisible tutorial, where it's like where it's basically it's like it just lets you play the game and expects you to have a functioning frontal lobe on
Well,
how to
yeah. In
figure
this
things
case,
out.
yeah, the first level, like the prologue of BG3, is pretty much a tutorial in the sense that it's teaching you the basics of combat, the basics of interaction with objects, how skill checks work. But a lot of those things only happen if you actually interact with the
If you actually
environment
do
to
it.
choose to.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, oh, how do skill checks work? Well, you have to interact with like the Twitch, or yeah, how does more of this work? How does jumping work? It's like, well, figure it out.
Um, I always refer to visible tutorials like in the beginning of Shovel Knight is what I go to. It's a it doesn't really teach you how to play. Instead, like there's a ledge, jump over it. There's a something on the ground, do something with it. There's an enemy, learn how to defeat it. But it always gives you these things in like um in small doses. It doesn't expect you to be an expert right away. Um, it gives you something that's approachable. Kind of like how like Mario does it. It's like there's an enemy headed your way, jump over it or jump on it, and then see what happens. See the reaction of it. Um, they sort of like not just cause and effect, but also like what was it called? Like when you do something and there's a false action to it in video games. I can't remember take on it. It's not cause and effect. It's try and try again. I think that sort of mentality to
Like the
limit
first,
that
oh, you mean trial and error?
trial and error. Thank you. I'm sorry. I don't know why I couldn't grasp basic words, but you know
That's alright.
the whole thing of like trial and error is a thing in all video games. It's just that I think a good game minimizes that as much as possible, so you don't have to like without holding your hand. It's a very interesting way of looking at video games. Oh, oh yeah, that's me. um, so yeah, I think we should go to the video itself.
Yep.
Indeed.
Uh,
Sawed off rifle. What's this?
Sawed-off shotgun.
Oh,
I think he's.
small.
I think you're playing a game.
Whoa, why are we 13
I
minutes
am.
into the video? What the hell?
We're not. We're not.
All right.
Yeah, Falco's
I'm-
seen the
I
thing
made a
before.
mistake. I made a mistake. That guy's jumping off his jumping off his roof. Anyways,
Oh my god. I forget where that's from. I forget where the perfect is from.
oh, that's from Street Fighter 2.
Yeah, it's the Street
Yeah, I
Fighter.
figured. I was like thinking about it. Like, where did I hear that?
And then the is Mario 64. Like, yeah, okay.
Disclaimer, please do not harass or threaten any of the individuals mentioned in this video. I may not agree with the review scores and general assessments of video games, but I do not encourage or condone any form of harassment sent in their direction. While I do make a few comedic and occasionally harsh jabs at the reviewers mentioned in the video, my intention is not to make a video that promotes bullying or hatred in any capacity.
Well, too late, because people are going to do it regardless.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean you should do it. You know, it's one of those things. I'm glad. I'm two ways about this, of course, when it comes to like people are just going to do it, but it doesn't. But like, it's good to have it, this sort of thing. But it's also like, yeah, well, people have their own agency, and I can see that side too. So it's, eh.
This is Dean Takahashi. Though his name might not initially ring a bell, you're probably more than familiar with his, let's say, hit-or-miss contributions to the video game scene. After pursuing his career in journalism through numerous
the Dallas Morning News, Los Angeles Times. Wow.
media outlets, Takahashi would eventually play his hand at video game-related writing, releasing 2 books about Microsoft's Xbox and
Opening the Xbox inside Microsoft's planning to unleash an environment revolution. Oh wow.
Entertainment.
Oh.
Entertainment.
Oh, what did I say?
How did you get environment?
You don't remember what you said 5 seconds ago?
No, I don't.
Oh, you said entertainment.
You dyslexic fuck.
Entertainment.
No, don't worry. You got it right. You got it right. Don't rewind. I
You
Entertainment.
right. You right.
Entertainment revolution. And I'm like, the Xbox was an entertainment revolution. I don't know how to feel about that. He
The Xbox
Probably.
360.
it seems like from these two videos though that like he really likes the Xbox. The real story
I like
behind
the
Microsoft
Xbox
next
too,
generation
but
video game
still.
console. Dean Takahashi, author of Opening the Xbox.
What?
Oh, Opening the Xbox was his last book. Okay, gotcha. I thought he was saying like I'm the author, the guy who gave you the warning labels of how to open the Xbox. Like, all right.
and Xbox 360, which both garnered high praise from critics, thus cementing himself as a notable figure in video game journalism. However, Takahashi's immense praise would soon devolve into heated ridicule, because while he was admittedly great at writing about the history of video game consoles, well, 2 of them at least, actually playing the games themselves would prove to be his Achilles heel. While he's mostly known for being the journalist that was so excruciatingly abysmal at Cuphead that he could barely manage to overcome the tutorial, so much so that a literal 5-year-old had somehow wiped the floor with him, his first true disastrous moment in video game journalism came in the form of his review for 2007's Mass Effect, in which he titled his review Mass Defect.
Got him.
About the Cuphead thing, I heard about like a lot of things that happened during that time, where he said it was a he meant to be bad at it to make it funny.
Yeah, I would also. That's what I would say too.
I was only pretending to be retarded.
Yeah,
That's
it's like
exactly what I would say.
It's kind of like that doesn't make it better. Anyways, Mass Defect. Why Mass Effect?
I want to hear about
falls-
Mass Defect.
Yeah. I've been anticipating Mass Effect ever since I saw also there's a missing JPEG. And at first the demo of the game. Let's see. And the XL5, unveil the Xbox.
Go slow,
360.
go slow.
Hey, shut up. This was the first iteration game that I saw on the highest of ambitions. Okay.
And why, you may ask? Because he didn't understand how the game worked, and trust me, that's not a hyperbolic statement. He makes these erroneous claims about
Oh yeah, I remember. Because like I've heard about this. Let's see if I can remember. He never upgraded his skill points. He didn't understand how they worked.
Yeah, let the video take us to it so I can suffer.
Mm-hmm.
combat,
Yeah.
such as stating that when you're shooting at an enemy, an orange box appears on them, and that orange box is the only place that you can inflict damage. You can damage enemies by shooting other parts of the body as well. Then, in the same review,
Oh
he reviewed
god. That was I remember when I heard that the first time. It drove me insane because the orange box is an indicator for destructible objects, like stuff you can shoot to break. Not an indicator. of
So he was
what
aiming
can
at
be
boxes
shot.
and not the people? Oh no.
That's horrifying.
Listen, as there is such a thing as like intuitive like video gaming. It is sort of a skill, and some people just don't have it. And if they don't have it, then they need to apply it whenever they play video games. Like, this is bad.
feels that it took him 3 hours straight to overcome a particular segment that, by most, is considered a relatively easy part of the game. And as the cherry on top of the cake, in the final paragraph of his review, he states that he never actually finished the game, because, and I quote, "there is no excuse for this. I blame..."
Hold on.
Mhm.
I'm genuinely interested. Do you mind if I read some of this?
Sure. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I know a lot of purists out there say I should finish the game and then spout my opinions about it, but I can't abide that. The Microsoft folks once told me that I had to finish Perfect Dark Zero because they promised it gets better. That was baloney. I'm sure that with Mass Effect it's true, but this ain't my fight. If they had come up with Halo 3 gameplay and Mass Effect cinematics, it would surely be one of the greatest games ever made. But I felt as inept as Homer Simpson running around with a pea shooter in the midst of a melee.
Oh,
There's no
no.
excuse for this. I blame the game developers who put me in this losing position. Maybe this game is just my Vietnam War video games. I'm
Wait,
stuck in the
no!
middle. And I don't think I'll ever get out.
Oh
It
my
has beaten
God.
me. And you, if
God,
you're
he
into
did
good
it.
gameplay as much as I am, you
He-
should forget about this one. What a
He did
Mass
fucking
Effect!
hack.
Mass Effect is
Holy-
his personal Vietnam.
I am in Hall of that shit is
Why
so
would you put-
stupid.
Why would you publish this, man?
It's
This,
well.
this,
Here's
this,
the he
this
can't
looks,
say
this
it's a
looks
joke
pathetic.
a second time. He's like, no, I didn't mean it. I just put down in writing.
Dude,
He's so...
what a
Maybe this game is just my Vietnam War video game.
I was
Prago,
that
check
that
the
is that
let him finish.
that part is way more hilarious and something he could definitely be like, oh, I was just, I was a little joke,
There
But
is
everything before
oh,
that was like, I
gosh.
blame the game developers who put me in this losing position.
I am a game journalist.
Yeah. Well, he's like, I felt inept as Homer Simpson running around with a pea shooter in the midst of a melee. It's like that sentence does not make sense in the context of playing Mass Effect. You never feel like you're running around with a pea shooter in the midst of a melee. The game is not promoting melee.
Falco.
Usually it's like tactical third person shooter.
Yes.
Falco, Ichigo wants to join.
Nah,
It's hilarious.
not this time. I'm sorry.
Dun.
Okay.
We're kind of this is it's not personal. It's just that
This is
Mhm.
fascinating. I'm pretty good at reading fast, so hopefully they're not all as long as this one. But I'm just
Oh,
fascinated. I want to see what he says.
oh, this is crazy. Why would you say there is no excuse for this? Like, and that's already like, dude, what are you saying? And then blame the game developers. Oh, wow, that's awfully mean-spirited. Like, that's almost hateful.
Yeah, but he said in reference to another game, like, oh, I kept playing because they said it gets better. And
It's-
I'm sure that with Mass Effect it's true, but then goes on to say
Mm-hmm.
the game's bad, essentially.
It's because he was forced to, like, yes, you wanted to be in this industry, so you
It's your
can't blame
job.
game developers for that.
Blame
It
the
takes
game
a very
developers who
yeah.
Mhm.
Now go ahead.
I actually said decision instead of position for some reason. Disregard that. Okay.
put me in this losing decision. This review was, understandably, heavily criticized by most, if not all, players, but thankfully, Takahashi later retracted his review and had a more positive consensus on the game once he figured out
Do you really want to?
No,
No.
not
how
really.
to use skill points. No, that's not a joke. He actually admitted this and apologized
Yeah, there
for his
it is.
botched review. So lesson learned, right? Well, no, because he would later go under fire for describing Warhammer 40,000 as a poor man's Gears of War, but
40,000. Oh,
I don't know. Does anyone familiar with 40K? Because I can't comment.
I
on this.
am.
Here we go, baby!
Specifically, he didn't just specifically. Dean Takashi wasn't describing specifically just 40K. He was talking about fucking Space Marine 2. Or no, it's the first Space Marine game, the first Warhammer Space Marine game, which I think does take some inspiration from Gears of War, but it's also completely not Gears of War. For one, there's no cover shooting. Like this game is a blend of melee and range combat. In fact, range combat is encouraged in this game because range combat is how you regain shields and health. Because the game had like its own version of like a glory kill system where you had to like stun enemies and then do like some sort of like glory kill to get your health back. This game does have cover, but you don't actually take cover. You just run behind cover to avoid damage. But majority of the time, this game is very upfront about fighting hordes of enemies and like this is like as far from Gears of War as you can kind of get in terms of how it like encourages the player to play.
do
So
you
him saying it's a poor man's Gears of War kind of feels just like a lie.
disingenuous? Yeah, it feels
very
disingenuous.
disingenuous.
Yeah.
Like, let me read the review. The second I looked at Warhammer 40,000, I figured I'd seen before. The sci-fi game may be set in the fabled Warhammer universe, but the style and gameplay looks so much like Gears of War that it's embarrassing. What do you
Oh,
mean? Like in Gears of War, you're almost like glued to cover because if you get out of cover, you die. In fact, Gears of War's whole mechanic was that it had a cover to cover system. Like you could run from cover to cover.
You
Sure, I understand
see,
this homage happens all the time. Also, in terms of like how it looks, the game is very industrial because it's set on a forge world, basically a giant factory world. It Gears of War is not a factory. Gears of War is in the ruins of human civilization.
with
You
bugs.
see,
Yeah.
you see, Vic. It is third-person shooter with a chainsaw gun. Therefore, it is exactly like Gears of War.
It's
Just like Gears of War. It's just like Dark Souls.
yeah. It's sort of
Just like
like
Mass Effect.
oh my gosh, it is
It's
just
just
like
like
Mass
Mass
Effect. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I felt like Homer in a pea shooter in the melee.
But that's a video for another day. This is what I'm talking about today. Some of the most laughably atrocious and downright awful video game
Doom
reviews
2.
in internet history.
I know that level.
Enjoy!
Yay. I like the music. Oh yeah. I
Classic.
remember.
Got it.
Alright, so let's kick things off by talking about one of the most notorious names in video game journalism, IGN. There was a point in time when IGN wasn't necessarily respected, but at least tolerated to a degree. But even in their glory
Tolerated.
days,
What a way to
Yeah, back,
the label
back in like
IGN.
2000, back in
Tolerated.
like 15 years ago. Yeah.
Look at him. He's
I
like,
love
IGN, I hate them. Like, look at the disgust on Kratos' face.
Yeah.
I come
and I'm being
seeking the
quite charitable
reviews of IGN.
Okay.
when I say that, IGN was no stranger to derision and contempt. Case in point, their notorious review of the 2006 cult classic, God Hand. God Hand is one of the most unabashedly over-the-top and stylish beat-em-ups I've ever played. It's about as subtle as an M16 in a symphony orchestra, and more often than not, cranks the absurdity factor up to 11. And I mean that in the best possible way.
Sorry, we have to go back.
I need to play this
Stop.
game one day.
I hear it's like unforgivingly hard, but
It is very
is.
difficult, but it's very fun. I think I saw Seth Zintek's review on
oh
it. and
yeah,
his-
yeah.
He said that the highlight of it is you get to punch women.
Oh no! Oh no!
In a very creative way, I'm sure.
The
In a
very-
Yes,
very
you
creative way.
well, and women
Very
punch you
creative.
too, so it's like, you know
Oh
what?
yeah,
That's
the
fair.
women try to like stab the shit out of you and shit. So yeah, it's self defense.
Not hatred, but tolerated.
Factor up to 11.
I still
And
love
I mean
that.
that in the best possible way. For many, God Hand is the apex of the beat-em-up genre, and for some, it's one of the greatest games ever produced. However, God Hand is not a game for everyone. It's unapologetically goofy and nonsensical, to the point where I'd rather tell my girlfriend that I'm watching an adult film because it's easier to explain in the heat of the moment.
It's strong, but it's a pain in the ass. You should try it for a while.
Let's axe it.
Nice one.
Its controls can take a while to acclimate to, and
What
most
did that
importantly, it's an
mean?
incredibly unforgiving and difficult experience.
I guess we're doing a review of God Hand. I guess this goes into
I guess he's kind of like just summarizing the.
yeah. He's summarizing the mechanics, so therefore, when IGN explains it, we don't have to do much thinking on our part about why it's wrong.
Through and through. Keep this in mind, you'll be hearing about difficulty a myriad of times throughout the video. Unfortunately, God Hand's arduous difficulty and steep learning curve was a bit too much for one ill-prepared IGN reviewer named Chris Roper, which consequently led to one of the outlet's most unanimously despised reviews of all time. Chris didn't just harshly review the game, oh no.
What is that thing on the right? It looks like something from the Wizard of Oz. Like,
He fucking eviscerated it, doused it in gasoline, sent it careening into an active volcano, and then pissed on any leftover remnants for good measure, awarding this game a measly 3 points out of 10. That is an absolutely horrendous score, especially
it's kind of funny. It's given a 3 out of 10, which is interesting how the current IGN scale is. About how like Alonda Pierce's video about it, like so it's
Alana,
like
I mean,
yeah. Goodness.
especially by IGN standards, given how lenient most of their reviews tend to be. Seeing a modern IGN
True.
review with a score lower than a 6 is like watching a Tarantino movie without gratuitous displays of feet. However, upon examining the review, you begin to
Gosh.
uncover a litany of issues and inconsistencies that lead to one glaringly evident conclusion. Chris didn't know how to play God Hand and placed blame on the game for his inadequacies. Hopefully you don't become a lawyer, Chris. The whole, "it wasn't my client who committed homicide, it was the pistol" excuse isn't exactly the most cogent legal defense. For starters, Chris negatively critiques the combat system and rather erroneously states that it boils down to nothing more than mindless button
In large part,
One of the
mashing
only
buttons
interesting
until everyone's finished. Oh, sorry.
One of the only interesting aspects of the game and its combat system, largely in part due to the fact that you're able to customize exactly which moves you want in your combo string. While you only have one main combo chain, you're able to fit in other moves that you've assigned to the face buttons and create attack chains on the fly. Some moves have special attributes like juggling an opponent, blah, 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 blah. But that's about as far as the fun of combat goes. Beyond this, it's an extremely tedious brawler where you'll generally mash a button or two until an enemy is dead. Mash a button or two. Vic, do you agree with this?
No, that's not at all what God Hand is about. Because God Hand is like a ton of mechanics. Admittedly, the game is really difficult, and I guess if you're feeling cheap, you can like button mash to victory, but there's still an element of skill there because the enemies are very punishing. So even if you try to button mash, if at least one enemy gets a good hit on you or knocks you back, you're kind of fucked.
Well, I was gonna say it's like any kind of game like that. Like you have to get to understand the boss's patterns. You can't, because if you just button mash, well, then you're not really trying to understand how to beat the boss, and he's gonna beat you.
Yeah, I play a lot of, like Devil May Cry, and one of the things is like, it is sort of like a button mash sort of fest in certain times, but it's not a button mash game. Where it's like there's a boss you can't button mash to. It's a well, there's a bunch of bosses, but the one example I have in my head is there's a horse with a chariot. It doesn't stand still, and it throws bombs at you and it goes in a circle. You can't button mash that thing until it rests. So it's like you have to take your time, and you actually have to dodge projectiles. And it has a time slow ability, which means you have to time your jumps correctly, or else you'll get hit. So it's like there's a bunch of things to it that make it more complex than just button mash to victory. And there's even enemies like this. Like they take a certain amount of there are some enemies that the sword doesn't work on. You have to hit them with bullets, and then hit them with swords. So it's like you can't
Honestly,
just
the perfect
do
example
things with this.
The perfect example of button mash is the final boss. Virgil is a very fast, extremely agile opponent that can parry
Mhm.
your attacks. You cannot button mash with him.
If he parries, he does that disappearing sword slash, and he does like 4 or 5 times. You just have to keep going. I'm like, oh jeez, oh jeez.
Yeah, he tries to use judgment cut on you.
Yeah. But still, a fun little boss.
mashing. Firstly, if you've ever played God Hand, you'll know that button mashing, while definitely a factor that comes into play during combat, is far from the only tool in your arsenal to use against enemies. You have an eclectic array of attacks that you can freely equip whenever you want, with more than a few of them having different use cases. Some of them send enemies flying at speeds of Mach 10, others can break an enemy's defense, and some can propel enemies into the air in order for you to continue a combo. That's not even mentioning the other mechanics, such as the roulette wheel attacks, which essentially serve as cinematic special attacks for you to demolish your enemies. So to say that the combat is almost nothing more than mindlessly mashing the attack button is extremely disingenuous. But don't just take my word for it, because Chris directly contradicts himself on his initial opinion 3 separate times throughout the review. Firstly, he mentions the fact that God Hand allows you to customize and swap out individual moves, which, mind you, is stated immediately before his negative critique of the combat. The thing is, when you swap out moves,
I mean, I guess that's true. When he said you can slot these things in, it's like, yeah, but it comes down to button mashing. I think his criticism, if I had to be good faith, was like, you can do these things, but why do you need to when you can just button mash your way through?
No, because unfortunately, that's not good faith. You just completely changed what he said.
I did?
Yeah, because he didn't say why would I need to when I can just button mash. It's like he forgot about the part he said above, and he said, but it's just a button mash
Okay. Mm-hmm.
type gameplay, when that's not what he said before.
Okay. That's
So
completely fair.
yeah, unfortunately there is no good faith here.
Mm-hmm.
the game tells you exactly what those types of moves are used for. So it's not just a matter of mashing the button, waiting for an opportune time, and then rinsing and repeating. There's actually a fair bit of complexity and nuance to God Hand's combat. Secondly, he then mentions the roulette wheel.
Fucking command grab. He fucked up. He fucked up the input, so then he was just like, "Oh, then here you go."
Here you go.
I'm just still just surprised that like, is it some kind of like lore and like Japanese mythology or something about like wooden dummies? Like I don't know,
I think it's I
Apache
have
or
a
something.
feeling it's
Uh,
for like the wooden dummies. I feel like it's something to do with like like those posable mannequins that some artists use to help
mhm.
draw people. It's something
Yes.
like that, except it's for like training because it's like you
Oh
have the
yeah.
regular kind of because you kind of have like the regular wooden dummy or the mannequins that people use for like putting on armor and stuff, but
Hmm.
it's like what if you could make those mannequins move so they could actually fight alongside you or help you, and
Hmm.
that's kind of what video games conceptualize as a way to like train players for fighting games.
I remember uh, in the ancient times of Japan, how they would
What?
fight robotic wooden dummies with boxing gloves.
I don't think it's what he meant, but okay.
No, I know what you mean, but
Well, the thing is, though, it's like I remember in like card games like Yu-Gi-Oh, there's like standing wooden, like they're not puppets, but it's like wooden, sort of like men type imposing things that are just um different types of like being on. There's a wooden form and there's a wooden form on fire, and then there's one where it's dried out, and it's like I wonder if that's a thing in Japan about like a forest spirit or something. I don't know. It just got my brain thinking.
attacks, which he describes as nothing more than eye candy. But last time I checked, performing a simple 3-hit combo does a quarter of the damage that an explosive baseball toss does. Plus, there are other roulette attacks that inflict different effects, like the one that sees you delivering a swift kick to the groin and leaving an enemy in a dazed state, and consequently leaving them open for attacks. This one in particular hits a bit too close to home for me. I've fallen victim to so many kicks to the groin in middle school, I wouldn't be surprised if my kids came out cross-eyed. And last
That was a joke. But it's
Damn.
like dang on. It's like
It's quite the
if
comparison.
if people are picking on you that much, like did you get some help or like
That's all right. It'll grow back.
it's true.
Lastly, he states that the enemies in the game are painfully generic, which I would assume was stated to reinforce his point about the combat being generic, and to that I say, what the fuck are you talking about? Sure, in the first level, the enemies aren't exactly unique from a design standpoint, but they certainly don't feel generic to take on in battle. There are 3 different variants of, quote, generic enemies here. You got the basic grunts that go down quicker than me after 2 Modelos. Yes, I'm a lightweight, sue me. IGN is the same way, except instead of alcohol, it's any difficulty higher than hey, not too rough. You've got the slightly larger enemies that tend to block more attacks and usually only succumb to the heavy hitting attacks, and then you have the average American waistline in the year 2056. But on top of that, you'll
Jesus, he is rolling them out.
2056. Oh my gosh. Well, I don't know. With everything nowadays, it's probably going to be like, man, Americans got thin.
toe with enemies who drop bombs that you either avoid or kick in their general direction, erotic women with whips, and hell, that's not even factoring in the boss battles.
Together we are the
Plus, there are demons-
Okay. Alright. Okay.
So
You-
some things shouldn't be put in live action. This would be one of them.
Oh, you kidding? Do it. I dare you.
Honestly, this would be so. If this was live action, this would be fucking hilarious. People would be so confused.
It'd be-
what they're watching.
Yeah, it would remind me of everything everywhere all at once. It's like, oh man.
What is happening? Old lady, what is happening?
What is happening?
I just have you never seen God Hand before? Fraga?
What?
Or it's just like, is this new to you? About God Hand?
Well, I've seen this video before,
Okay.
but yeah, the only new knowledge that I got from God Hand was from Vic, so.
Dude, it's insane.
that'll sporadically burst from the corpses of defeated enemies, granting you handy rewards if you can manage to defeat them. So how in the hell could you classify that as generic? But also, speaking of those aforementioned demons, Chris also complains about how these demons serve as nothing more than roadblocks that'll occasionally cause you to throw
Oh no.
Enemy design is extremely generic with themes and such that reek of early 90s arcade brawlers. While some of them have varying combat skills, like being able to quickly hop up when thrown to the ground or an affinity for dodging, you generally just run at them, punch away until they're about to attack, and then flip away in cowardice. Rinse and repeat.
So,
I hate this way of thinking when it comes to combat.
hold on.
Very
Again,
revealing about how he plays.
yeah, it's well, it's not just that. It's more like you just contradicted yourself again. That doesn't sound like button mashing to me.
Yeah.
It sounds like there's a pattern,
yeah,
a specific pattern.
I forget what I was going to say, but I'll just move on. It's not that important. Oh, you'll be hold on. There's something. I'm gonna go back a little bit.
Classify that as generic. But also, speaking of those aforementioned demons, Chris also complains about how these demons serve as nothing more than roadblocks that'll occasionally cause you to throw your controller across the room in a fit of rage.
Oh, I thought it was
Wait,
just
the
a
most-
button masher. All right.
You'll often have to fight demon spirits that arise from fallen enemies. They take a while to kill and simply act as roadblocks to slow down. What?
Roadblocks.
Well,
Hold
I thought
on.
I thought enemy design is extremely generic, with you just rinsing and repeating your same actions. Fuck it. Which is it, buddy?
I just love the
Which way,
idea.
Western man?
I love the idea that he says like artificial barriers of blockage in a different way.
Oh god, that's awful.
He's like, they're just there to stop your progress. I'm like, yeah. Yes. Roads are just there for you to drive on.
That is by their design.
Yeah, it's kind of like saying like wow, these roads, they lead you to places. Like it's like all right.
What is that fucking quote? Money costs money.
Money is money. But yeah,
Money costs money.
these snozzberries taste like snozzberries.
Yeah, that's not true either. Yes, they can be difficult, but there are more than a few instances where you can simply walk past them and advance to the next area. And if you thought Chris was done bitching about game mechanics, then get a load of this. He complains about the fact that health doesn't carry across levels. Okay, I think that's actually a reasonable critique for once. But then he also complains about the fact that you regain full health when you die because there aren't any consequences to dying. You
What?
What? Oh
It doesn't
no.
make any sense that your health isn't refilled, since you're very likely to
I'm
die
not the
a
only
minute
one.
later and-
Yeah, you're both stupid. Anyway, congratulations.
Now you come down to my level.
Since you're very likely to die a minute later anyway, and then restart with no penalty. And of course, you have to wait through a load screen when you continue.
So why not just die before the load screen so you can have full health?
Yeah.
I don't.
Well, yeah, exactly. If you're going into a new area, you can just kill yourself and get a full bar of health.
We do not condemn that in real life. That doesn't happen.
What's the
No,
point
I-
of being
If it
alive?
does, if it
What are you
does,
talking
Paul,
about? That's what I do every single day. That's why I'm so refreshed.
if that happens in real life, you need to start that religion.
Yeah, you go to
Can't be
sleep, you
killed.
die, and then you wake up. And you're alive.
I was. Yeah.
make this shit up. It's also blatantly false, by the way, as you gain less money the more times you die, and as a bonus, if you're hit enough times, your character can actually level down, so it encourages adept gameplay. So with all of his critiques in mind, it leads me to believe
Oh yeah, that's another thing about the game that I learned from that Seth review that you were talking about earlier, Vic.
Yeah,
what-
ruthlessly difficult indeed.
Where it's like the more you hit them, the more difficult the game, the more difficult it is. But it's like when you level down, you don't get as much resources, but they're weaker, which means it's like it's a risk and reward sort of gameplay constantly. It's like
that Chris didn't know how to play God Hand, didn't pay even a modicum of attention to the tutorial, and while this one is more conjectural, probably didn't even make it past the second
conjectural.
Conjectural, kind of like, just a guess.
Okay.
Yeah, conjecture.
Yeah, conjecture.
I've just never heard that word before.
Or sorry, conjecture. I said it wrong.
Yeah,
Conjecture.
yeah.
Aha! You see?
Yeah, It's
Now we're all idiots.
Yay!
No,
It's
I
usually
know.
used in science, so
I just never heard that word before. So
that's fine.
of attention to the tutorial, and while this one is more conjectural, probably didn't even make it past the second stage before calling it quits and typing up a half-assed review in order to get his paycheck. Needless to say, this review was absolutely incinerated.
you know, I'd say that's probably true, because there's probably like when game journalists go through so many games because they got to review every game. It's like, it's just another one. It's just another one. It's like,
Well, at the very least, like the good faith interpretation of that review is he didn't edit the review at all. He just submitted the first draft. Not really a
be.
good, not an excuse.
mhm.
Really, because it's still
You're
yeah.
being paid, like,
it's your responsibility to do it. Yeah, you're getting paid.
and plus you took on well, it might have been forced upon you, but it's still your responsibility to have integrity, because you are a gaming journalist, you know.
Rated by the gaming community, and many people believe that this very review led to God Hand's average sales figures and the closure of Clover Studios.
Oh, that makes me upset. When, like, sort of, not necessarily brilliant games, but definitely, like innovations and, like, all, and, like, has a really unique way of doing things, doesn't sell, and then, therefore, it doesn't get the traction it needs to make maybe a sequel, or maybe, like, a spiritual successor. Like, that's bad news.
Well, any speculation I might have on this would be conjecture, you might say.
I guess.
Yeah.
There you go.
Forced to try to complete a level with no starting health when you have no hope of survival. You just need to reload a minute later. What's fun in fighting some annoying demon creatures over and over again? When the fight was old and the second time you tried it. Why oh my gosh. Why did Clover
Okay.
Studio put so much money into such a risky joke? Oh. Wow. That's,
Why did no one see that the joke didn't have a real punchline at any
oh my
point in the
gosh.
development?
I'm just, oh, man. What's green has no wheels? Grass. I lied about the wheels. What the heck?
Damn. You really didn't like this game.
I know. It's like, yeah, it's kind of like how, like, Soma didn't sell as much. It's like that kind of gets me upset too.
It's not Amnesia, therefore bad.
Yeah, it doesn't have the compilations that it needed.
I
Oddly
wouldn't
enough,
say
the
that this
compilations you can find are actually pretty nice.
Oh yeah, except it's all about the screens and the jump scares. So it's like, yeah.
review single-handedly put Clover Studios 6 feet under, but I wouldn't be surprised if it played somewhat of a role, given that review outlets held a bit more stake in the game back in the day. It was such a reviled review that IGN themselves would make an entire video dedicated to defending God Hand, and essentially retracting its original review. But to this day, that 3 out of 10 score lives.
It doesn't matter though. Like, reviews that come out back then, like, hurt sales. Like, you had someone who's not, I don't know if it's dishonest. I'd assume it's like just naivete in a rushed attitude. But still, he is responsible for that, and like anything afterwards, who cares? They shut down. It's a moot point.
in infamy as one of IGN's earliest controversies.
Dead Cells.
Oh, this one I do remember. I remember that, like, I remember when Jim Sterling was still a not necessarily a good reviewer or anything, but
A good person.
no, I wouldn't say good person. He never was. But like but
Jesus.
I will say he was good at like pointing out the problems in the gaming industry, and this was one of them.
Keyword was.
Yes, was. Now he's an activist clown. He's a locale.
Alright, it's time for round 2 of the IGN humiliation ritual, because we're not done with these guys just yet. This is Dead Cells. It's a game that I'm admittedly not the most well-informed of, mainly because
It's a fun game. I'm
I've
just
played it to completion. It's very fun.
I'm not good at it, so
I'm
I
decent. I'm decent at it.
I decided not to finish it because I was like, I'm not going anywhere, and I just feel stuck. So I'm like, I don't have the passion to play it anymore. I'm like, all right,
I had a
but
lot of fun with Dead Cells. It's probably
I
one of my favorite roguelites.
I put about 12 hours into it, so it's fun.
I think I've done
Mhm.
about maybe 50, 60 hours.
Mhm.
I put a lot of time into this game.
For those who have stuck around the background noises
Yeah.
with me included, you would remember that I criticized the person for not looking at the product that he's reviewing in the video. So you're probably thinking, Fraga, why aren't you bashing on this guy for
Uh-huh.
not playing the game that he's ultimately going to review and talk about, uh,
Huh?
and why the review of that IGN made was wrong. Well, I'll tell you right now, this is gonna take a turn that I don't think those who don't know about this IGN review are prepared for.
Oh boy.
All right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know all about this, and it's like,
I
ooh,
sense a disturbance.
oh yeah. You're about to get a full face of like really stupid decisions.
because I simply haven't played it, but it just doesn't really look like my cup of tea personally, but maybe I'll take a crack at it someday. So why am I talking about a review of this game when I haven't even played it? Well, it's not because I fundamentally disagree with the reviewer's consensus, it's more so because the reviewer in question couldn't even muster up an original review to begin with. Oh yeah, that's right,
Oh
an
boy.
IGN reviewer committed the sleazy and creatively bankrupt act of plagiarism.
It's not just plagiarism. It's like it's straight up theft. Like
That's plagiarism.
well, I know it is, but there's different. I think there's different levels. It's different levels of
Yeah,
plagiarism. Okay,
I'm saying
this
plagiarism is a type of theft. That's why you don't have to
yes,
say theft.
it's just like I believe he stole everything from that review, not just snippets. It's like he was not he was very blatant about it. And then like I'm not sure the video's going to go over it, but then afterwards he went on the internet and said, "I dare you to find other things I plagiarized." And so the internet went to work and found others. Yeah, that
Don't dare the internet.
Don't
Don't
dare
fucking-
the
this is like this is like an internet historian video waiting to happen. It's like and so people went out and found more and more. Oh, please make it stop.
No, like when he says like when he dared the internet to find out, it's the fucking Candancula quote. In the business, we call this foreshadowing.
Yeah. Uh,
See, in 2017, a reviewer at IGN named Philippe Musin, I think that's how you say it, uploaded his review of Dead Cells. He ended up scoring the game with an excellent 9 out of 10, and for once, gamers agreed with the score. And for a brief, fleeting moment, IGN wasn't a nuisance in the public eye. So that means everybody sang Kumbaya at the campfire and gave IGN a convivial group hug and solidarity, right? Wrong. Absolutely fucking not. Not too long after the
oh no, wait.
a convivial group hug and solidarity, right? Wrong. Absolutely
old but go fuck yourself like shit.
Yeah.
fucking not. Not too long after the original review was posted, a channel known as Boomstick Gaming had uploaded a video claiming that the aforementioned IGN reviewer had copied his review of the game and then modified some of the wording to make it at least marginally distinct from the original. And well, to say that it bore a few striking similarities to the original would be a massive understatement. At first, the review kicks things off in a relatively strong fashion. Hell, when I first saw this video, I just figured that maybe there were only a handful of questionable coincidences, but nothing too egregious. However, the further you dive into the review, the more blatantly obvious the similarities become.
Combat system is fast, fluid, responsive, and one of the most rewarding representations of 2D combat of the entire genre.
Fights are fast, fluid, responsive, and hands down one of the most gratifying representations of video game combat I've ever experienced.
Needless to say, audiences were outraged, especially since Boom
Yeah. It's all over the place. That's why I'm like, man, you're so clever and lazy, aren't you?
Stick Gaming had a mere fraction of the subscriber base that he does now. For reference, his video had received roughly 14,000 views, while IGN's review had already garnered roughly 70,000 views. Shortly after this was discovered,
Yeah, that's also scummy. That you stole traffic from him.
discovered, IGN terminated
fucking
Philippe,
dick.
redacted the original review, replaced it with a different review covered by another employee, and issued a series of apologies and statements to Boomstick Gaming. Hell, in the revised review, you can still find a statement that references the controversy at the bottom of the page.
Dead Cells review found. Yeah, they replaced it. I know they did that. Immediately retracted. We apologize to see our full statement here. The new review. Yep. All right.
A little while after this disastrous ordeal took place, Philippe would return to YouTube and make a half-hearted attempt at clearing his name by stating that the similarities between him and Boomstick Gaming were purely coincidental and unintentional. But you know damn well that the internet just wasn't gonna buy that excuse. Now maybe, just maybe, Philippe could have salvaged at least a modicum of his career if his disastrous decision was confined exclusively to Dead Cells. But no, it's quite the opposite actually. Not long after this debacle had transpired, it was discovered that Philippe had not only plagiarized work from Boomstick Gaming, but from a myriad of other YouTube channels as well, with two
The latest allegations against Munchkin now include Bayonetta 2 review. That drew from Polygon. He copied from Polygon.
Why would you fucking copy from Polygon?
Took word for a NeoGAF post. All right. I can't read the other one.
notable examples being Nintendo Wire's Fire Emblem Warriors review and Nintendo Life's FIFA 18 review. This
Oh my gosh. He stole from everybody.
led to IGN reassessing and retroactively deleting every single one of his video game reviews. Yet his coverage of Nintendo games and consoles.
At least they had enough. At least IGN has this sort of business integrity to delete those.
It's just common sense.
It's common sense. It is, but oh boy. There are worse companies out there, but that doesn't make
There are
IGN
worse
good.
fates.
Consoles are still left unscathed on the official website. As a final Hail Mary, Philippe would do two things. He would make a post on Reddit admitting his wrongdoing, at least when it came to the Dead Cells review.
My
I
name
made a
is
severe lapse in judgment.
lapse in judgment. Those were a lot of lapse in judgment. What you're
I'm
doing.
I'm making a reference. I'm making
Mhm.
a reference to Logan Paul's shitty apology video.
Oh yeah, I'm just saying, like, if you do this enough times and you let it go for that long, you're not sorry.
I mean, it
You're
seems
sorry
like
you
he's
got caught.
only.
Yeah.
It seems he's only apologizing for the one Like,
Really?
the one that is highly publicized. He said during a night of pure chaos, desperation, and anxiety. Yeah. Oh, boom, victim.
I'm
I
a
made the biggest
victim.
mistake of my life. I plagiarized one of my reviews from somewhere else on YouTube, and I got caught,
Oh,
and I was
People
fired,
pointed
and
out that
people
you
abandoned
plagiarized
me.
several others, you
Uh,
dumbass.
This is such a like, oh, I was in a bad place, and I made
Woe
things
is me.
worse, and I made a
Oh,
mistake.
it's so
This is
Like,
very woe
horrible.
is
God
me.
damn, this is so pathetic.
It's
I have no problem with people admitting what they did, but just get to the fucking point. Be like, there's no excuse for my actions. I made a mistake, and I deserve all the criticism I've
uh,
gotten. That's it. Don't even say like I will strive to do better in journalism. No, fuck off. Just say it. Move on. That's it.
yeah, like, and don't even say like I made a mistake. It's like, just say like, yeah, I did it, and then move on.
Yeah, well, I'm saying there's nothing wrong with recognizing what you did wrong, which is you made a mistake. And also, I do think that like saying you made a mistake is a good way of convincing people if that is your intent to like that you're going to try and do better. Like, you know, it was a mistake, as opposed to like, oh, I'll never do this again. It's like, well, it doesn't really matter much if you say that unless you recognize it was a mistake.
Well, that's the thing. I don't think it was a mistake.
Well, it was a mistake. Obviously it was a mistake. If he could go back and change it, he would. He would.
Oh yeah.
I think what Falco is trying to say is it's less of a mistake and more of a what's the word?
Intentions. Like,
Yeah.
he knew.
Intentional.
I'm pretty sure he intentionally knew he was a plagiarizer.
Oh, absolutely.
Like-
He did it for so long, and then he's sorry about this one. I'm like, no, that's not a mistake. You knew what you were
Well,
doing.
the reason I kind of see where you're coming from, but the reason I would still call it a mistake is because even like when it comes to like personal choices we all make, like there are some things we do that we know are like bad, that are mistakes, but we do it anyway.
Yeah, yes, of
And
course.
so I would still call it a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Even though
Sure.
you knew what you were doing, but you knowingly did it.
in order to garner some sympathy and forgiveness. However, he made the catastrophic error of posting to Reddit, one of the most unforgiving and terminally online user bases on the web. Not saying that their reactions were not justified, I'm just giving you some context here. So you can imagine just how spiteful and vitriolic some of the responses were.
Lazy, stupid jerk. You were raised wrong.
You were raised wrong.
And roughly a year after the incident took place, he would also upload 2 official apologies on his YouTube channel, addressing
2 apologies.
You apologize,
Okay.
man.
not just Boomstick Gaming's review, but the other reviews as well. This was also not exactly received in the most generous of fashions. Needless to say,
Apology the trilogy.
Falco, didn't wasn't our last video like the internet historian? Who was it that kept apologizing over and over and
DiGiorno.
over and over? Yeah, DiGiorno. Yeah.
Because they stayed because of pizza.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was like they stayed is supposed to be like domestic abuse. And they're like, DiGiorno. It's not delivery.
Yeah, DiGiorno.
It's
yeah,
DiGiorno.
Said, yeah, DiGiorno said they stayed because of pizza. It's like, wow.
And yeah,
wow,
and,
bro.
and
wow.
they like and they sort of like said sorry like 1,500 times. Anyways.
Leap hasn't had the most successful career in game reviews or as a content creator, and considering that we haven't seen a video from him in roughly 3 years, there's a low likelihood that we'll ever hear from him again.
Ooh.
Oh boy.
This is recent.
Alright, so now we're gonna delve into some touchy territory, because we're talking about Hogwarts Legacy.
Praise
Hogwarts
phobe.
Legacy was, and still is, the definitive Harry Potter game. It has excellent production value, a fantastic soundtrack, an immersive recreation of Hogwarts and the wizarding world in general, not to mention the surprisingly fun and engaging combat system. It is,
What makes the
accounts,
combat
a must-buy
system
for
so
any
funny
self-
to me, because I've played this game. The
Mhm.
combat system is bordering on you just committing war crimes, especially a late game. Like the game
mhm.
literally gives you access to the killing curse.
Yeah.
It's like your character is like 15 and you're already, and note, to enact the killing curse requires killing intent. So your character is just a psychopath.
Yeah.
Your character is casually just like, oh look,
Yeah,
these guys who should just be arrested, and you're just like, nah, die.
I do appreciate them giving me that freedom.
I appreciate the freedom, but my character is like 15. What the fuck is wrong with you guys?
Well, that's the thing, right? Like they specifically, when they made that decision, they're like, we cannot give any nuance to this whatsoever. Like there's no acknowledgement of this from
Yeah,
the
same with
enemies, from the
Cruciatus.
story, none of it,
Yeah,
because
you can
it's
actually
horrible.
cast the Cruciatus curse, and again, the Cruciatus
Yes.
curse, in order to be effective, requires you to not only want to torture the person, but like it. You need to like torturing. It's why it's such a horrible
Yeah,
curse.
like
and
torture.
this
Let's
character-
go.
This character is just like, yes, feel the pain.
It's like a GameStop employee gets in your way. Ah, killing curse. I'm sorry. I can't get you back your refund. I can't give you back your refund for Hogwarts Legacy. It's like, Cruciatus curse. I'm gonna make you suffer. And then like, oh, okay, Karen, put down the wand. Ah!
Yeah, I love the whole, like, your character is like standing in a fucking, like, it could just consume someone in a pillar of fire. It's like, yes, this is totally normal 15-year-old behavior.
Anyways, I'm gonna go play my. Nah, this ain't mature. I'm gonna play my JRPG where it's some guy who's mentally disabled trying to save the world. This is much better.
Play the video, please.
respecting Harry Potter fan, but even if you're not familiar with the source material, I think you'll still get a kick out of this one. However, Hogwarts Legacy was the focal point of controversy for a handful of people, not because any of the content within the game itself, but more so because the creator of the Harry Potter series, J.K. Rowling. Look, I'll be frank with you, I'm not really one to talk about contemporary politics and social topics, so I'll give you the hyper-condensed version. J.K. Rowling expressed her views about a particular group of people, some responded by boycotting the Harry Potter brand, some staunchly supported her, but most were left unaffected, shrugged their shoulders, and continued on with their day. However, once the announcement for Hogwarts Legacy rolled around, the J.K. Rowling controversy was back in full swing, and now people were getting pigeonholed into one of two positions. Were you team Hogwarts Legacy, or were you team boycott? It was like the Twilight craze was happening all over again, except I didn't have to choose between a gloomy wolf man dealing with unrequited love, or a pale husk role-playing as a vampire who takes 3 business days to initiate a kiss. But for most, there was a third option.
3 business days to have a kiss. Okay. I like that. That's a good line. Sorry, I am moving positions. This must be trailer footage.
Maybe.
Yeah, probably. Pardon me, sir. So yeah, I'm gonna stay out of the topic unless it comes up specifically. When it comes to how like J.K. Rowling's politics, which
Yeah, let's stay away from that. But generally speaking, let's see what this.
Let's see what happens. Yeah.
Option.
Yep.
If I want the game, I'll buy it, and if I don't want it, I won't buy it. It was the silent majority.
Oh yeah, I forgot. One of the things that happened, I remember, is like someone was bullied for buying the game on their stream, and they mentally broke
Yeah,
down.
I think Kirsha.
Yeah. It was a VTuber.
There was a VTuber who got intensely bullied. It didn't help that they created that website where it would basically track anyone who was playing Hogwarts Legacy just so they could be like harassed.
Unhinged.
Very unhinged.
Yeah, it's like you're a terrorist organization by doing that.
Yeah.
It's like
So what's
Terrorist?
this?
Whoa! What the fuck did you just say?
I'm being
Did you say terrorist?
I'm
Okay,
being
you're being
hyperbolic. Yes.
Okay,
But
okay.
it's listen, I understand what I said. But
Alright.
it's kind of dumb that like no, it's not dumb. It's really hateful to start a website just to find people to bully. It's like that.
Yeah, but what's the review for this one? What could be so bad about this review?
Well,
Let's find out.
it better be Jim Sterling.
Company that
Jim
I assume helped
Sterling.
propel this game's sales figures to over 30 million copies, making it the highest-selling game of 2023. Now, while most critics were largely positive of the game as a whole, there were some that were a bit more critical, and even a small minority of critics who flat-out refused to review the game due to the aforementioned controversy. And you know what? I kind of respect that. If you don't want to review it, then you're not obligated to do so.
Yeah, that's true. But if it's your job, I'm like,
What exactly is there to respect about that? Like it feels pretty neutral. I'm not gonna do something.
all right, well, it's good for
Okay.
somebody else.
Yeah, like okay. There's nothing to talk about. There's
It's-
nothing to revere about inaction.
There can be, but that inaction needs to have like a consequence for it to have like to be like respectable.
Because at least you're not reviewing the game dishonestly. It's a hell of a lot better than what Wired did. Wired gave Hogwarts Legacy
Okay, that's
fair.
yeah, that's more fair because I'm like, if you're like, inaction is better than, doing.
I like the way he.
Yeah.
I like the way he framed it. Like it's like, well, it's better than having a bad, like making a bad review. I'm like, yeah, that's true.
Well, this just being dishonest on purpose, like lying, like all right, that's fair.
an appallingly low 1 out of 10. A 1 out of 10. Now look, you don't have to like Hogwarts Legacy. Hell, you don't even have to like games that are considered landmark titles. But there is no way in hell that you could convince me that a game like Hogwarts Legacy is on the same pedestal as something like E.T. for the Atari 2600 or Bubsy 3D or Ninja Bread Man.
What about Gollum? Come on, man. You gotta get in
Yeah,
there.
you-
Come on,
you're not
Gollum.
get Gollum, get Security Breach, get any of those games.
Gregory, you know about Lord of the Rings.
Gregory, have you played a game called Among Us?
Oh Jesus.
The fuck is this piece of shit?
The reviewer kicks off this review by not even talking about the game. No, instead she delves into her past a bit and recounts the excitement she
I remember the first bit
Oh.
about the gangly boy on the color illustration. He talks about his. Oh no, he's doing the video essayist thing where you talk about your personal history.
felt when reading a Harry Potter book for the first time, followed by her stating that she deliberately didn't want to watch anything associated with Hogwarts Legacy out of fear that she might enjoy it. If this doesn't
Wait,
Out of
what?
fear
She might enjoy it.
I hold on.
Yeah,
I
it's
avoided
like-
press about
The way
Hogwarts-
she's treating it makes it sound like, you know, it's like I heard about Hitler, but I didn't want to watch any of his speeches for fear of it doing them.
It's-
for fear of
Isn't that what extra credits did? It's like if you see an Iron Cross at a website, you might stay there and learn about it.
I mean, learning about Nazis is part. Is
scream conflict of
education.
interest
Whoa,
already,
whoa,
then
hold
buckle
on,
up.
Who
hold
keeps
on,
doing
hold on.
that? Stop it.
I want to read this. I avoided press about Hogwarts.
Sorry,
Oh, what
sorry,
the hell?
sorry. I was putting it back some. You may
I
continue.
avoided press about Hogwarts Legacy when it was first announced. I didn't want to see the gameplay. I didn't want to be wed by trailers. I
Odd.
avoided them like the plague because I was oh yeah, odd. Sorry. I avoided them like the plague because I was afraid I would be conflicted. That I'd see a game that captured the magic of the books and my heart would leap out of my chest. I was afraid to see the lavish visuals of the films recreated on modern gaming hardware, realized in 4K. Okay, shut the fuck up. I was afraid I'd have to tell 12-year-old me that she couldn't play it and explain why. What the fuck?
So when I got the code for Hogwarts Legacy, I braced myself. It's like, are you being tempted by the dark side of the Force? Calm down. Like,
The dark side of the Force is a pathway to many sensibilities that one
true.
would consider
Why bother
unnatural.
reviewing it? You are right, Hollowed One. You are right. It's like, if you're gonna be that, if you hate it so much before it came out, your like view is very tainted. Like, you're not being honest.
I braced myself. What the fuck were you? What did you think the game was gonna be?
J.K. Rowling snaps
I
on the
braced
yeah.
myself.
J.K. Rowling snaps on the screen and
Anything
tells her like,
associated
"Men
with
are
Hogwarts
men."
Legacy, out of fear that she might enjoy it. If this doesn't scream conflict of interest already, then buckle up, because we're just getting started.
Yeah, conflict of
She then,
interest,
without
yeah.
any specific examples, states that the game is lifeless, that the world lacks heart or creativity, while also questioning why the game didn't have the John Williams score from the movies. The soundtrack is one of the strongest aspects of Hogwarts Legacy, and it didn't even need to leverage the iconic Harry Potter theme in order to achieve that. Would you not consider
Actually, that's
Yeah,
I
that's
didn't
true.
I didn't hear about that. That's actually kind of
that a more creative
Interesting.
application
I
of music?
played
Wait,
it.
who
It
keeps-
does
hold
have
on.
John Williams soundtrack. I
Who's-
have played it,
Mhm.
and I have played it, and it does have the John Williams soundtrack, mostly for when you're introduced to Hogwarts. But for the most part, it has its own soundtrack, probably to just stand out.
I'm actually glad that happens. It doesn't rely on just the old soundtrack itself. Instead, having new music for the game. I
Music's
appreciate
fine.
that.
The game's music is fine.
Yeah, I'd love to hear her. I mean, we all know that this review is not going to be genuine, but I still am curious as to how she justifies a lifeless world. I really think the open world. I'm not going to say it's anything special. You know, if you play it on like for the second time, you're going to notice certain imperfections and flaws about it, but I wouldn't call it lifeless, and I
Other than
certainly
lazily
wouldn't
No,
call
I
it.
catching the
wouldn't call it
song
lifeless.
just-
Who keeps playing?
So, whatever. So I wouldn't call it lifeless, and I definitely wouldn't. I don't know. It's somewhere in the
I-
middle.
I probably put it a step above like the Ubisoft open world.
And it really opens
to
up
a
once you
degree.
get the broomstick.
Oh yeah, like the world is
That's-
actually
that
really
was-
pretty, and it has quite a bit of
That's really fun.
exploration to it.
I've seen it. Like I've
I
seen
wouldn't call
like
it lifeless. I wouldn't call it
Lifeless doesn't
lifeless.
make
I
any
just say
sense.
like the term I'd use is just it's kind of it is your open world. It's kind of almost your typical
for some
open
brownie
world,
points.
but
Then
with
she
Harry
begins to
Potter, so it has points for that.
Is there someone
Okay.
extra in this stream?
User Nissy. That's
I
the
don't-
person who keeps playing and pausing it. That would be you, Falco.
I'm not doing it. I haven't touched it.
I'm not touching anything.
Yeah, so it's like
Yeah,
Like my mouse is away from the screen. I'm pressing spacebar.
I'm not touching anything.
yeah, so like I wonder. Okay.
And it didn't even need to leverage the iconic Harry Potter theme in order to achieve that. Would you not consider that a more creative application of music, rather than lazily rehashing the theme song just for some brownie points? Then she begins to broadly reiterate that the game is lifeless, but then goes on to say that the game looks 2 generations behind? What the fuck are you talking about? Hogwarts
What are you
Legacy
talking-
might not be a Red Dead Redemption 2 or Uncharted 4 in terms of art direction, but it's still a damn good looking game.
Yeah, that looks. I don't think that looks lifeless at all. I think it.
That's a cloudy day. That's how it should look.
Yeah, it's.
It's in Scotland. my dude.
England!
Scotland is
Oh.
fucking cloud.
Oh, it is.
Game, all things
sorry.
considered.
Yeah,
To say
the
that it's
Hogwarts
visually
the Hogwarts castle is in the Scottish Highlands.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought it was England or something. I don't know.
That's why
no,
it
it's-
snows quite a bit during the winter.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
fucking elevated.
Hogwarts Legacy might not be a Red Dead Redemption 2 or Uncharted 4 in terms of
Oh, that looks so pretty.
art direction, but it's still a damn good looking game, all things considered. To say that it's visually unimpressive would be a falsehood of the highest degree. Then she
I saw that pop in too. I was like,
He's playing on console.
mm-hmm.
goes on another unrelated tangent about how the Fantastic Beasts movies aren't as well made as the original Harry Potter films, before then brazenly stating that the game's story is packed with
Why did she mention George Lucas?
Whoa! The story, besides being rooted at.
Oh, sorry,
okay.
sorry. I had to go back a little bit. The film
before
franchise.
then brazenly
Poisoned
stating
by
that the
to-
game's story.
I'm not doing that. I swear.
Yeah, you see, user Nissy, gotcha.
It's not me. Hold on. Let me unplug, replug.
Yeah.
All right. Now.
Yeah. I saw.
I saw
Yeah,
you. Anyways.
Chat. You saw him. You saw him do it.
Anyways, the new movies are bad. Not just bad morally. Not just bad
I mean,
morally.
I mean, the thing is, the Fantastic Beasts movies are actually pretty fucking bad. They're pretty bad movies, but it's like that's not applied to Hogwarts Legacy. I'll say the story of Hogwarts Legacy is kind of meh. It's kind of mad, and it kind of has the whole
Yeah.
problem of introducing. It has the whole
Yeah.
problem of introducing brand new magical mechanics that just really awkward. Like,
They kind of. That was actually like I know what you're about to say, and I actually think that it does help to sort of separate itself as its own thing.
Yeah, it
Mhm.
helps if it just separated. It's not part of the same like Harry Potter continuity.
Yeah.
It's
Exactly.
better because this is part of like Harry Potter. It just makes it even more complicated because
It's
the kind of magic they introduce in the game is reality altering magic.
like
The kind that where you can like completely change the weather, the kind where you can literally disintegrate people, like just like wipe them out.
also
Okay.
like the crux of the game, like what makes you special. This is something you find out early, so it's not a major spoiler. Your character starts seeing these like layers of old magic that no one else can see in the world,
Yeah,
and it leads to like discovering you have this very unique magic power that very few people in history have had. It's fine. It's nothing special. The
Mhm.
story, but
But morally,
Oh.
like wow, that's yeah. Why would you say that?
I don't even. I don't think that's worth acknowledging.
They're not decline of quality. One with IPs were trying to, despite attempts to right the ship. Okay. The George Lucas problem. What's the George Lucas problem?
Well, she explains it in the previous line.
Oh.
Some reviews chalk it up to Rowling having more direct control. Few people tell her no or give her edits. The George Lucas problem. She's saying that this game suffers the same things that the prequels did.
That's kind of what I mean. It's like, what What's
This
the
this
George
review
Lucas
is
problem?
speculate. I don't know. I think speculating on this review is kind of pointless because I don't think
Mhm.
there's anything
I don't-
really sincere about it.
as well made as the original Harry Potter films, before then brazenly stating that the game's story is packed with anti-Semitic undertones because
Whoa!
Oh no!
Now,
Don't tell
it-
me!
now
Don't tell
this
me
is
she's doing it. She's a
fascinating.
goblin. Don't tell me
The-
she's
Because
sees
it's
you
a
about-
goblin
That's a game
idea.
Let me
sees you
let
battling-
let. Oh, God. Okay, go back a
That
second.
wasn't me. Aha.
Yeah, Nizzy, that's you.
Oh, it is. Why does it keep doing that?
Take your fucking mouse off the video when we're watching. I just.
Wha-
the story, besides being rooted in anti-Semitism,
Is this
So-
because of the
Global
goblin
cabal
thing?
is trying to end slavery, but that's bad because the slaves like being slaves.
doesn't even
Wow.
feel compelling. It feels muddy, a minefield of unanswered questions and unexplained motivations. And speaking of which, the characters often flat out state their motivations, but they don't feel believable or even particularly coherent. Yeah,
What?
yeah.
Wait, so a global cabal is trying to end slavery, but that's bad because slaves like being slaves.
Yeah.
Wait,
Don't expand.
how-
Don't
is
expand on
she
that.
talking about the? Is she talking about the goblins? Because the goblins aren't like.
Well,
I
Well,
think
we
she's
don't.
talking about house
we don't.
elves.
Well, we don't know because she doesn't expand on it.
Yeah, yeah,
Maybe
it's-
later.
It's like,
but-
are we talking about goblins or house
There's
slaves
no like,
or house
there's
elves?
no house elf. There's no house elf subplot in Hogwarts Legacy. Like in terms of like
Okay.
house elf like freedom and stuff. It's like that's part of like the original books, but there's no like if you're talking about the goblins aren't enslaved to wizarding kind. They often work together. It's like, and in fact, the goblins fucking despise wizards because of like they have a very kind of spotty history with each other. But there's no global cabals trying to end slavery, but that's bad because the slaves like being slaves. That when
Where
receipts, woman, please.
this is like, wow, that's a lot of projection.
Like receipts, please.
Bad because slaves like being slaves.
because a game that sees you battling
huh?
powerful wizards, riding on the back of a griffin, and transforming people into chickens just really gets you itching for a spot in the Third Reich. She even goes so far as to say
they
That's
would.
true. I mean, that's fair.
They would love it if they could, but
game indicates that your goal is to cause harm to someone. Here I was thinking that some of my
Whoa! Hold on,
What?
Mr. Man. Hold
the
on.
game indicates that your goal
For some reason
that
alone.
reason alone-
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Okay. I can't in good conscience recommend spending your money on it. Combined with who this game helps and who it harms.
What?
Well, it's definitely not worth unless it's your goal to cause harm.
Oh my gosh! If you
This
buy
is a
this-
familiar problem, though. It's one we see in the latest Wizarding World films as well.
Oh my
What?
gosh! If you buy this game, you're hurting the transes. It's
They
like,
put
okay.
a trans
This game,
person
you're-
in.
if you buy this game, you're a terrorist.
I remember I was actually floored. That I wasn't like, I don't know. It's hard to explain. I was surprised, but not in a bad way. Like walk into the what is it, the Honeydukes or something, and the bartender is a trans woman, and
Yeah.
they don't really make anything of it. It's just
Well,
it's
yeah,
not something
because
that
it's
they
just a
take time
character.
to. It's just a
character.
character,
They're just
and
the bartender.
and I'm like, I kind of wish that more media would just do this. You know, if you really wanna have trans people in media, just make them normal people.
Yes.
Like, you don't have to draw attention to it, like, because people don't draw attention to themselves. That's not something normal people do.
Most normal people don't say, "Hey, look at me, I'm gay." It's like, no.
Yeah, it's
yeah.
true.
Most
Like,
people don't talk about that because it's
And the
private
people who
life.
do, like, don't get me wrong, like Vic, like there are people who do that, and those people are made
I'm
fun
aware.
of. Those flamboyant frog motherfuckers. Sorry, no offense, Vic.
Frog?
You know what? I'm sorry. Actually, I
Frogo?
said
Oh
that,
my gosh.
And then I looked and saw the
Froggo.
I saw the frog avatars. I'm like, oh, whoops. Well, I heard he said it.
You hear
Can't
that,
take it back.
Froggo? You hear
Who
that,
cares about the
Froggo?
who cares about the French? Come on.
No, but see
Who
that
cares
it
about
wouldn't
the brand?
it definitely wouldn't apply to Froggo because he's not very flamboyant.
Anywho,
Anyway,
this is like I did hear this at the time where it's like if you buy this game you're causing a real world harm. I'm like, please. That's like the same vibe as like Eternals is like
it's
it will save lives if people go to see this movie.
yeah, that's something I just wouldn't even acknowledge seriously.
Oh, it's dumb.
Goal is to cause harm to someone. Here I was thinking that some of my college classmates were a bit pretentious. One session with the people undergoing a degree in journalism and I'd probably become a raging alcoholic. And I mean, I could delve deeper into this article if I really wanted to, but it's nothing more than obnoxious virtue signaling and dishonest critiques of the game. In other words, very little of this review pertains to the game itself, but is more so centered around the actual controversy of the creator that inspired the game in the first place. And again, you don't have to review this game if you don't want to, but Wired did. With Hogwarts Legacy 2 allegedly in development, it's only a matter of time before we get another one of these absurd
I don't think it's in
at.
development anymore, or at least it's been in development.
I think it is. Pretty sure it is.
Oh, Edge Magazine. I've never heard
to
of
me,
this.
one of the most amusing aspects
Oh,
of video
no.
game reviews is hindsight. What do I mean when I say this? Well, some reviews expertly pinpoint the moment in which a game becomes a one-of-a-kind achievement in game design. Others might review a game in a more critical light, but will go on to sing the game's praises a handful of years later. And sometimes a reviewer is simply in the wrong place at the wrong time. Like when Alien Resurrection was criticized by 3 different outlets for introducing a control scheme that almost every single third-person and first-person shooter adopts to this very day. But in some rare instances, the reviewer could just have a perplexing and unorthodox opinion about a game, regardless of what time period you read the review in. Case in point, the next review on this list, Edge Magazine's laughable review of Doom. Doom is arguably one of the most pivotal and influential
Like the
shooters
original
of all
Doom?
time. And while it wasn't the
Yes.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Alright,
Looks
let's
like
see
it.
how this goes.
I do remember there was a lot of anti Doom from like religious people back in the day. It's
Even though the whole point of Doom is that you're
Yes.
fighting demons.
yeah.
I don't understand the whole like anti-religious. It's like you're literally killing demons.
Well, they see gun and violence and gore, and their monkey brains activate. Like,
This is like a story I read where this was like during the kind of the satanic panic around like D&D, and
Yep.
his mom decided to watch him and his friends play a D&D session. And about 30 minutes into their session, she gets up really angry and she just screams, "It's just math!"
it's just math. True. It is very. It's that's kind of
D&D is a very numbers-based game. It is a very numbers-heavy game.
It's kind of funny. The same thing happened around Pokemon. It's like it got really popular with kids, and it's like we need to be on the lookout. It's like relax, guys. Like
the first FPS on the market, it was the one that almost single-handedly popularized the genre. Now, while Doom was garnering widespread acclaim from critics and general audiences alike, there was one particular review that stood out like a sore thumb, mainly because of how niche and perplexing its main critiques were. Firstly, the reviewer kicks things off by actually praising Doom, more specifically in its technical department. Sure.
Oh, okay, hold on. I just want to read the highlighted part. Come on.
More specifically in its technical
impressive piece of software with graphics technology way up there with Strike Commanders. Woo. And I can't listen. I'm not going to say that word.
Comanches.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, Comanches of the world. What? Comanches of the world is a game? Interesting.
No, Comanches is the name of the game.
Mm-hmm. And the speed at which it works is nothing short of breathtaking. Yeah, it's. I do also remember that like they handed out the source code for Doom like on public, and like people were allowed to create Doom levels and all that stuff, and then like I forget what else they did, but like there was like the Doom editor and stuff like that, like and you use like never mind, I forgot, but it was very it was a message board just for Doom players.
department. Sure, Doom might seem a bit antiquated in terms of its overall visuals, but for the time, it was pushing the boundaries of PCs across the market and arguably still holds up really well to this day. The reviewer expresses that Edge magazine won't, and I quote, mindlessly praise Doom beyond its worth, in such a needlessly condescending tone,
Hold,
as if Doom...
hold on.
Well,
I want to read that.
well, remember, you have control.
Okay.
Yeah.
That said, though, there are problems with the game. Edge has no intention of joining the rabble, mindlessly praising Doom beyond its worth.
It's like,
Okay.
okay. No one expected you of doing that, though. It's like, if you praise something and someone else praises it too, does that mean you're mindless? As a third person, am I mindlessly praising it if I say it's good too? Like, okay.
Yes, it is good. In fact, it's a very technically impressive piece of programming. But where's the genuine 3D? Look up and down. Well, I'll tell you. You don't have to look up and down in this game. One, it's not really 3D when you look at it from its core details.
Mm-hmm.
It's more so 2D that looks like 3D.
Mm-hmm.
But also,
Its
you don't need
pixels
to
are
look.
2D. Yes.
Also, you don't need. The second thing is you don't need to look up and down because no matter how high the demons are or how low, as long as they're in your sights, you can shoot them.
Yeah.
So it can be a problem sometimes of depending on what demon you're trying to shoot at, but ultimately it doesn't matter whether you can look up or down because it still works even without looking up or down.
Yeah. Hold on. Well, that's because when you shoot at something in the original Doom games, you have to line up with your at the area of the screen, in the middle where your gun is. I forget what that's called, but like it's a. I'm really sucking. My to do for its worth. Ultimate Underworld, which was 3D, but people often forget how awkward 3D is. Like back in the day of early programming, it's like to look up and down was considered like, wow, you can look up and down. It's like that was a feature. It wasn't just automatic in a 3D game. And all this stuff. So how to do that, but also making it quick and run like smooth as possible with all those pixels and stuff, and with you moving that fast, it's like, yeah, looking up and down is not going to be a thing. It would take too long.
Where's the variety in the gameplay? It's all just kill, kill, kill.
Yeah.
It's also fucking looking for weapons and stuff to make you stronger because each level, depending on the level, will give you either an automatic map, which will tell you where everything is and all that sort of thing. There's also the backpack, which gives you more ammo. There's also the different weapons you can grab throughout the secrets.
Yeah.
There's the blue orb, which gives you more health. It's just like,
what about the puzzles?
Not all just kill. Well, to be fair, puzzles in Doom aren't that complex. At least in the original Doom.
But it should be noted as like you need to find a card, and when you get the card, it's a monster closet. Oh no, you have to fight your way out. It's like, or
yeah,
it's like when they use teleport pads, like they could be used in a puzzle-like way, like
yeah, it's a first-person shooter. Of course, you're going to kill things.
Yes, that's also true.
That's the basis of the genre. Now, you could also look at it as just like, let's pull up an example, right? What's an example of a game that is just kill, 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 but it's very bland and uninspired? Well, we could pull up something like Suicide Squad: Kill the Justice League, where all the enemy varieties are either shoot, hit and shoot, or yet actually there's nothing else after that. There's no variety in weaponry. It's all just upgrades that are way too fucking detailed in how you you kill the enemy. Uh, and ultimately it doesn't lead to anything interesting or fun in terms of the gameplay. Now you look at something like Doom, where you got the shotgun, you got the rocket launcher, you got the chain gun, you got all these different weapons that you can kill different enemies with, and you can choose how to approach your game. Like if you see a mancubus, you could go like, well, I could either chain gun it down, or I could use the rocket launcher, or I could use the BFG that I just got. Stuff like that.
Yeah. I agree. So it's kind of funny he compares it to Ultimate Underworld, which is not a combat game. So, anyways, I'm gonna move on.
Worth in such a needlessly condescending tone, as if Doom is nothing more than the feeble peasant struggling underneath Edge Magazine's shoe. Then the reviewer becomes even more unbearable, as the reviewer describes minor nitpicks as if they single-handedly hindered his enjoyment of the game. He criticizes the fact that you can't look up and down, and, get this, also states that the game is too repetitive. Why? Because all you do in Doom, a first-person shooter, is shoot and kill enemies. Firstly, this is a blatantly false statement, as you actually spend a good bulk of the game not just shooting enemies, but also scrounging the area for keys, finding hidden locations, managing your health, your armor, your ammunition, not to mention the handful of power-ups that you can obtain and utilize.
He just said what you said, but better.
Oh, wow, okay. Fuck you then.
But good on you for being there first.
Well, yeah, I'm very passionate about Doom.
And I can't believe I'm saying this, but it's a first-person shooter. Shooting is the fundamental bread and butter of the gameplay. That's like criticizing the gameplay loop of Super Mario Brothers because you spend a bulk of your time running and jumping, and you can't steal a car, pick up Toadette, and then put a cap in her after paying top dollar for her pleasantries. Then later...
Okay. Okay, sorry.
Later on down the line, he, for some inexplicable reason, states that the lighting in particular is scary, but the so-called limited number of enemies is an impediment to the game's potential, because it should have kept more...
Whoa, wait a minute. Very limited...
It's a shame.
Hold on.
For some inexplicable reason, states that the lighting in particular...
Scary.
Okay,
Everyone...
so...
Okay.
On the plus side, some of the lighting effects in the game are truly scary. Okay, like for someone at the time, they could probably find some stuff scary for the time. Not today though. Everyone at one time or another has described some video game as scary, and as we all know, they're never scary to anyone with an IQ above, say
12. It's like
Jesus.
He is pretentious. Like I think it's right on the money. This is like, I'm so much better than Doom. Look at me. Yeah, if it's scary if you're 12. Oh, it's like, oh my gosh.
He's saying other video games are like when you have an IQ above 12, you don't find them that scary. But he's specifically talking about how Doom was scary for him.
Yeah.
That's one generalization that Doom shatters. Walking through the computer center with the lights flashing slowly and rhythmically and turning to see one of those hideous pink beasts running behind you is a seriously intense video game experience. Dude, wait until he plays Doom 2 and finds the arch file. He's gonna have some fucking fun with that.
He's gonna have a heart attack, yeah. I freaking hate that thing.
It's scary, but the so-called limited number of enemies is...
That the number of enemies is fairly limited. Well, gee, have you heard about the purpose of Doom's enemies? Like, the whole thing is programmed, like, they do the same things. And that's really important because it puts the idea of what the enemy is doing in your head. Like, they'll never do anything that surprises you, but it's about how they're in combination with other enemies that make it more difficult, or even grouped together. Like, and that's actually really smart game design. It's what Halo did. It's like, you know what the enemy is capable of when you see them, and you have to come up with a plan right in your head. Do I go for the small ones first? Do I go for the brutes? Do I go for, like, it depends how you approach each that 5-second loop that they talk about like a fun. Like, it's very important. They purposely did that for a reason.
Also, I think I made a mistake. I think I said trying to strategize around a mancubus, or earlier, but
no one cares.
Mancubus didn't show up until Doom 2, I believe. So that's my mistake.
It's fine. No one's gonna say you're wrong on that one. I doubt it.
Is an impediment to the game's potential, because it should have tapped more into the horror aspect. Because when I play Doom, I don't play it for the sake of massacring an entire militia's worth of demons. I do it so I can shriek in terror at a bulging pink testicle with teeth, or the aftermath of consuming anything from Taco Bell.
Okay.
It's kind of funny because there's two versions of. There's a version of Doom that is called Ultimate Doom, which is a more like in Doom 64 that does go into the more like scary sides of it, but they're still not scary games. It's just the music changes the tone. That's all it does.
The music and lighting, yeah.
Mhm.
Then you have something like Doom 3, which is strictly going for horror.
Yeah, that wonderful game. It quotes. Anyways.
Already, this is an obscenely baffling and asinine series of critiques that just make the review feel like it's intentionally going against the grain for the sake of downplaying the game's success. Trust me, though, because there's a reason as to why.
Do you mean he's trying to be contrarian? I guess so. That does sound like what it's trying to be.
Why the reviewer feels this way, because the review culminates in one of the most notorious closing remarks in the history of video game journalism. If only you could talk.
If only you could talk these creatures, then perhaps you could try to make friends with them.
Oh my
Form
God.
alliances. Okay. Now I know why. Hold on. Now I know why he said Ultimate Underworld. Because Ultimate Underworld, you can make. There are ways to make friends with enemies in that game because there's different factions and stuff at play in that game. He really wanted it to be like that. He thought it's like he needed nuance in his shooter game. What if they artistically don't want it? It should do it anyway. Like, all right.
Yeah, I didn't know this journalist was a writer for the Devil May Cry Netflix show.
Really? This is him?
No. I was joking. I was joking.
Okay. Hey, listen, I take that stuff serious. Oh, I get what you're saying, though. It's like, haha, make friends with the demons.
Don't remind me, Froggo. Don't remind me.
Freaking what they did to. I've never seen it, and I never want to.
One of these days, I will make you watch it, Falco, so we can suffer together.
To the monsters. Oh, well, I don't know. Did you ask Doom Guy what he thinks? Maybe he negotiated a peace treaty, but it didn't work out. Maybe he's a selective mute. Or I don't know. Maybe it's because that's not how you.
That would be interesting if he was like in lore he was a mute. It's like, that's why you can't talk.
Treaty, but it didn't work out. Maybe he's a selective mute. Or I don't know, maybe it's because that's not how you play the fucking game. Hilariously, this isn't the only absurd critique in a review from Edge magazine, as they gave Grand Theft Auto 3 an 8 out of 10, which in isolation is a pretty damn good score, albeit a bit controversial given how monumental of a title that game was. The problem? They ticked points off of the very game that revolutionized the modern open world genre for, quote, a lack of freedom. All in
Lack of freedom.
Bullshit. That's bullshit.
What do you mean by a lack of freedom?
For, quote, a
one drawing flaws the previous nature of up-close combat. It's awkward system of stimulus play during.
There's a lamentable lack of freedom for your own criminal genius too.
You're still boxed in by the whims of your current overlord. That's bullshit. Because then you got the secrets that let you explore more of the map.
Well, I do agree. It's like they do box you in at first on like one island, and it's like, yeah, that's because they don't want you to go over there. There's nothing to do over there until you actually go there. It's like it's all about getting you used to the world first. That's fine. Like, in fact, having total freedom would be that's a design decision. It's not bad or good. It depends how it's used.
lack of freedom. All in all, Edge Magazine's Doom review is a catastrophic misunderstanding of what the game is all about, and it just seems like an aggravating series of nitpicks in order to come off as a snide contrarian. Thankfully, Edge Magazine has essentially taken this review behind the shed, given it the old Yeller treatment, and now attempts to live in an alternate reality where it never existed. As
What? What is it?
Nah, it's the old Yeller treatment.
Old Yeller treatment? Oh. It's just...
Yeah.
Well, except... It's kind of funny people say the old Yeller treatment, like, yeah, but I'm not really upset that this review got shot in the face. So it's like, but I really got upset when, like, old Yeller got killed. Like, that's quite upsetting. So it's kind of like, I'm not sure that saying is true.
they eventually went on to rank Doom as one of the top 10 video games of all time. Unfortunately, this is the internet, and the iconic phrase, "if only you could talk to the monsters," is still a consistent source of mockery to this very day.
Oh boy, here we go.
That's Bikini Bottom GameSpot. I've never heard of this.
I know about this.
Rehydrated.
Okay,
I
so this
remember
next
this.
review actually has a bit of a personal connection to me, believe it or not. So back in the not-so-distant year of 2020, aka
I
the year
remember
where you
Battle
couldn't
for the
cough in
Bikini
public
Bottom.
without nearby pedestrians staring at you like they wanted to hang you in a nearby oak tree, I uploaded a video about a remake of one of my favorite platformers of all time, SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom. That video has aged about as well as curdled milk in the scorching Sahara Desert, but it marks a pivotal point in my channel as it was the very first video that I ever uploaded. In that particular review, I actually critique a couple of other reviews of the same game from different media outlets, and by critique, I mean that I hurl expletives like my life depends on it, while having a vocal delivery that's nothing short of cringe-inducing.
You're gonna be doing three things most of the time: breaking shit, bouncing on shit, and buying shit. But if you're GameSpot, there's actually a fourth thing, and that's being shit at platformers.
I was going through a video game junkie phase at the
Hey, I like that
All
better. Like, I like that.
time. I don't know why mimicking his voice felt like a smart choice. In hindsight, it sounded like I touched myself every night to the tune of the Godfather soundtrack.
I was fucking pumped.
In that review, I talk about two
Wow. All right.
Alright,
Quite the comparison.
Oh gosh. So all right.
reviews. One from my
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What?
I was just gonna say, you got to be pretty bad at platformers to not be able to play this game. I mean, literal children are playing these games, so if you're an adult, you should be able to play the game.
Back in my day, there were hard platformers, and you just dealt with it. Like,
back in my day.
IGN and the other from GameSpot. Now, the IGN review does have plenty of flaws, sure, but the GameSpot review takes the cake as one of the all-time worst reviews that I have ever seen for a video game. Why? Simple. The reviewer was awful at the game and gave it a low score to give himself a confidence boost. At least, that's what I think. Remember how earlier I said that difficulty plays a factor in video game review scores? Well, if IGN is the kid that
I know the Dean Takahashi.
Fucking legendary footage.
difficulty plays a factor in
I
video
hope that
game
still
review
haunts him in his sleep.
Oh, nice, nice frame. Like, I didn't know they had like a turnaround animation. I've never known that for a long time. Wow.
scores. Well, if IGN is the kid that needs a push every time he wants to ride his bike, GameSpot is the middle-aged coward who still uses training wheels to ride a tricycle. For some reason, GameSpot in particular tends to house reviewers that couldn't complete a moderately difficult game if their life depended on it. They gave the Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy a 6 out of 10 while only getting roughly halfway through each of the games.
Oh my gosh. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Listen,
Wow.
Wow.
I suck
That's
at Crash
impressive.
3, but like, well, that because of motorcycle. I hate the motorcycle. But like, but that's just because like I've never played that
Like
game
it-
before, so I don't have a recognition of like what necessary to do to be optimized at it. And I'm not
You're
sure.
not reviewing the game.
True. But then again, it's like if I were reviewing the game, I'm like, well, I have a responsibility. I need to get through it. It's like,
Well, here's how I come out on it. I mean, you could definitely say that this kind of review is worthless, but I would say that as long as you just say, like, this is a review of this game up to this point, then I feel like you could still give some valid critiques.
oh, absolutely.
Unless there's something about the, like,
Mhm.
further along in the game that rectifies that critique.
Well, the thing is, so that kind of gets to me. It's like it's roughly halfway through each game, and I'm like, yeah, you can still have things to say, but your whole thing about being a journalist on the site is that you completed the games, because you need to have a fair critique of it, and to have a fair critique, you need to at least explore most of the game. Like, but yeah, but you definitely need a completed version of each game in order to have I think, to have a fair review. I think so.
They gave Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze a 6, citing the game's unimaginative level design, which you know damn well is just a covert way of saying that the game is too difficult. And look, I'm no savant of Tropical Freeze, I'll admit that it's a pretty tough game, but there is no way in hell that you're gonna tell me that one of this game's downfalls is its level design.
I don't like the water controls, but yeah, it's a fun game.
No, and let's not even get started on that new Super Mario Bros. Review.
New Super Mario Bros. Wii is a tough game.
And
Patrick's face is my face. What? Oh my gosh. I can't believe you said that. I had to hear it again.
Dishonor on you, dishonor on your family.
Dishonor on your cow.
New Super Mario Bros. Wii is a tough game.
And case in point, the review of Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated, which GameSpot awarded a 2 out of 10. Just this
2?
Holy shit.
2?
Yeah, damn.
Whoa, wait a minute.
I haven't even finished this game, and I would never consider giving it a 2.
Which GameSpot awarded a 2 out of 10.
Let's see, the strong, good voice acting. Interesting boss fights. Alright. Dull moment to moment gameplay, stubborn controls. Collectibles either too simple or too tedious. Alright. Combat interactions.
Too simple or too tedious?
Wait, collectibles? They aren't rewarding. They allow you to progress further in the game, you fucking idiot.
A generalization.
So
okay, go ahead.
What I remember about this game, like the main, getting the golden spatulas, like you didn't have to get all of them. So like they definitely made some of those challenges a lot harder than say your average kiddie platformer game. So I can there are definitely aspects of this game I remember to be quite challenging, but it wasn't one of those games that required you to 100% complete it.
Well, I do like how the author actually did play it and then went back in to actually do some of the other challenges. There's something to that, but I don't know. It's a 2 out of 10 feels. I don't know. That feels wrong to me. With what I've seen.
Just this score alone was enough for die-hard fans of the original game to trash on this review in unison, but I'll tell you, the score itself is the least embarrassing quality of the review. Right from the get-go, the reviewer opens by recounting a puzzle that takes place in the Mermalayer. If you've never played this game, basically, in order to obtain the golden spatula, you have to help guide this boulder through a Rube Goldberg-esque device, and while it's not exactly a cakewalk, you can probably successfully get this spatula on your first or second attempt. For the GameSpot reviewer, however, he describes this puzzle as if it's akin to getting caught in a saw trap, where you have to solve the cure for cancer with nothing but a janky $3 calculator and Breaking Bad Season 2 on Blu-ray. He specifically
that was an interesting description. Holy shit.
Yeah, it's like, would you like to play a game?
Jesse, we need to cook.
points out a segment of the puzzle where you have to stand on a switch while using your bowling ball technique to hit a button. However, if you step off of the switch, the gate that reveals the button will immediately shut. This is arguably one of the more rudimentary steps to the puzzle, but for the GameSpot reviewer, this was his kryptonite for some reason, as he slides off of the switch while executing the bowling move, thus preventing the ball from colliding with the button. Now, using your cognitive capabilities for a moment, let me ask you, what do you do in this instance? If you said, step towards the back of the switch so that you don't slip off of it while using the bowling ball, congratulations, you're at least ranked in the mildly competent video games tier.
Yeah, that's what I would have done. That's what I was thinking the whole time I was watching that footage. I'm like, get in the back, you moron.
Get in the back.
Right above
you idiot.
Get in the back, we're going places.
partner and roughly 3 tiers above GameSpot journalist. Yes, the reviewer repeatedly steps on the exact same spot on the Switch, tosses the bowling ball from the exact same angle, and erroneously believes that
Wow, this reminds me of DSP. Like, what's going on? I'm on the thing. Why isn't it working? It's like,
What a game!
this game sucks, bro.
Work, game, work.
the game is at fault. And this is just the opening segment of the review. He later goes on to state that golden spatulas, this game's equivalent to power stars, for reference, are either freely bestowed upon you for little to no work at all, or are obscured by bad camera angles and, get this, unexplained systems that you're somehow expected to know. He doesn't elaborate on this, but if I had to take a stab in the dark, I'd say that he knowingly
What was that? Stab in the dork.
It's an accent.
Yeah, probably.
elaborate on this, but if I had to take a stab in the dark, I'd say that he knowingly avoided the tutorial signs peppered throughout the first level in order to churn out the review as quickly as possible, and labeled the game as confusing because he deliberately ignored the resources that the game was trying to give him. That's like complaining about a restaurant lacking vegan options when the signage on the front door, as well as the menu and interior, explicitly inform you that you're dining at a steakhouse. And right after that, he immediately self-reports by stating that the online guides helped assist him throughout.
Luckily, there are a ton of helpful existing forum posts and walkthroughs on the OG game can guide you the most annoying parts. He used a guide for a kid game.
For SpongeBob. Doesn't the game explain to you most of the things that you can do?
Yeah, probably.
Last I checked, yes.
Jesus.
I mean, I've never played the game, but like, have you ever gotten lost in Bikini Bottom, Shep?
I didn't play the remake. I'm referencing very old knowledge.
Oh yeah,
so I couldn't tell you.
So, in your very old knowledge, did you ever get lost or like not know what to do?
No, I don't think I ever got lost. I think there was always something to do. Like there's always some collectible that's out of reach. You're like, how do I get up there?
Yeah.
Or there's something pushing you along to like, you want to get more spatulas because you want to access this new area, and typical fucking mechanics that no one would be surprised by.
I like the idea of like sort of younger sort of gamers getting the idea. It's like, hey, how do I get up there? And they have to like think about it, like because that's actually what like sort of Zelda does. Like,
it's
it's like, oh man, there's an item up there, like, or there's like a place that I can't reach. It's like kids got all day. Like,
well, there's a lot of classic like collectathon mechanics baked into this game that you've definitely seen before. So.
Oh yeah, it's like and the idea of like just explore, it's just really it's just a good thing for like for young gamers to get involved in because it makes them real inquisitive on their own. Like it's really cool.
The game. Look, buddy, if you need online guides to get past the basic levels of a SpongeBob game, then you'll need a whole fucking support group and years of extensive counseling before whittling the Soldier of Godric down to half health. And he's a tutorial boss. Then he complains about the platforming being at
It's true. Like, that guy's such a, like, oh no, look out. Tutorial boss.
too unfair.
I should probably point out that Ichigo mentioned this in the live chat, but this is GameStop, or GameSpot.
GameSpot.
Sorry.
Yeah, well, same thing.
Yeah, GameSpot. Remember what they said during the Miles Morales review?
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah, the swagger of a black team. Oh goodness.
Fair. And look, if we're talking about the SpongeBob's dream level, maybe you'd have a half-decent argument. That level's a bigger pain in the ass than the aftermath of insulting Vlad the Impaler during his prime. But this guy's referring to instances
Oh my god.
Hey, this guy's got some good jokes. I'll say that.
Yeah.
enemies are placed on platforms that you're about to...
Sometimes there are robots placed right on the end of the exclusive too large for a character to move around. Probably because of their lack of mobility. Well, gee, there's probably a way to get rid of them.
There's a spin attack.
Yeah. It's one of the common things done in platformers is to put an enemy on the edge, and you have to deal with it, or on a small space.
Hey.
You know.
Well, that's what the spin move is good for. I mean, they do. I can't help but compare it to Jack and Daxter.
Yeah.
I mean, the attacks that they give you are just perfect because they utilize so many different situations where, like, no, sometimes you have to punch forward, sometimes you have to spin, sometimes you have to jump and hit from above, like hit and ground pound.
Yeah. It's
Yeah, like or my favorite is to use your punch to propel yourself forward, then you can propel yourself into a jump and then spin.
Oh, my favorite was a long jump and then spin. It was just
Oh
the
yeah,
best way to get around.
The long jump, I'm still trying to figure out what he's doing to this day that propels him like that. Like how he's able to build up so much momentum. It's such a uniquely like Jack and Daxter mechanic I've never seen anywhere.
It's sort of like since it's by Naughty Dog, it's the same who did Crash Bandicoot. It's the same sort of thing where it's like the slide move you use can go over pits for a little bit, and then you jump. It's like it's the same sort of mechanic.
Oh yeah, you're absolutely right. I just meant like after Jack and Daxter.
Oh,
I don't think I've seen that kind of mechanic.
There's also Ratchet and Clank, which also has a long jump. It's almost the same thing, except it has a glide.
Well, yeah. I mean, that actually makes more sense to me because you have Clank, and you can't do that until you get the specific attachment in the first game.
Yep. So yeah, I'm just saying, like the long jump is like a platformer like staple, but it takes a nuance though, because you have to just press the jump button right after the roll. You can't just do it just because you did the roll. So it's kind of like so it's got to be in that sweet spot
to land on, which isn't exactly a rarity in platformers. Plus, it's not like the enemies are composed of complex, multi-layered artificial intelligence that detects your every move 3 months in advance. They unintentionally warn you when they see you
3 months in advance. I can imagine your computer just staring at you, or a game. It's like, I know exactly what you're going to do on that day.
and when they're about to strike. It's not rocket science. Then he complains about the general gameplay and dislikes the fact that you can't dodge enemies in the heat of battle or switch characters on the fly. First off, it's not like dodging is a pop.
Huh?
It's a platformer. Just run. Just run out of the way.
It's
platformer.
like
that's their whole design.
It's kind of funny how
Have you never played one, bro?
Probably not. There are some people who shouldn't have jobs. Like, I just love it's like, when you look at certain people online playing something, I'm like, are you sure that, alright, are you sure you have this gaming instinct? Like, but this is a whole nother level of like, you need to have like baby's first platformer and just jump over one pit, and that's it. 10 out of 10 game.
Popular staple of 3D platformers. Most of the time, it largely consists of running, jumping, and maybe getting a dedicated attack button. And secondly, something that the reviewer doesn't recognize is that the game wasn't designed for characters to be switched at any given moment. A majority of the time, you'll be playing as SpongeBob, with roughly 25% of that time dedicated to playing as either Sandy or Patrick. Mind you, each of these characters have abilities that wildly vary from one another, meaning that in some instances, it would be damn near impossible, or just too easy, for one character to effectively explore an area. And it gets even worse, because he complains that you have to trudge all the way back to the bus stop as if they're these far-flung and sparse locations. The game literally provides you with these in a way that doesn't force you to backtrack. That's not even mentioning the contradictions. He complains about the game warping you to the nearest checkpoint whenever you die, and then
but if you die, good luck keeping your cool. Oh my gosh. That can be...
about the difficulty being too excruciating.
Wait, I did it again! No! I don't know why it's doing this. I think I need a new mouse.
You might need one.
Yeah.
It could be just. It could just be a glitch in Watch Together.
Are you leaving your mouse hovering over the play button?
No. Sometimes, because I like to pause and unpause. But I don't know why. It's just automatically clicking, and I don't know why it's doing that. It doesn't do it with anything else, though. That's the weird thing. So it could be Microsoft Edge. Who knows?
You could just refresh your browser window, maybe.
Nah. But if
Okay.
good luck keeping your cool. He's acting like these deaths are like Dark Souls, like bonfire locations. It's like, oh man, I can't believe I lost. I have to go all the way back. It's like,
I have to go all the way back to this checkpoint too.
yeah,
Okay. God.
Dark deaths of the loading screen. Dark deaths of the loading screen. Abyss.
Wait, what was this? What was this complaint?
That checkpoints are too far between each other.
You may end up looking into the dark depths of the loading screen a bit, thinking, "Why me?"
It's like,
Man,
this
you were
is
lucky to get good checkpoints back in this, like the day this game was made. Like they were only just starting to sort of take it easy on gamers more.
yeah. Like I remember, like I've never played Jax 2, but I hear that's one of the most like brutal checkpoint system games.
So the thing with Jack 2, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just because I've played it a fair amount of times. Probably is, but like I found it was not really the checkpoints were more inconsistent. Like it wasn't really clear when you were like going to get a checkpoint. Like sometimes they were kind of placed arbitrarily in the level, so that when you die, sometimes you'd feel like, oh yeah, okay, I know where I am. But then other times, like you'd be almost halfway through the level, and if you die, then it would start you right at the beginning.
Yeah.
Which can definitely be frustrating.
Oh,
especially if you're like, one of the specific missions is when you have to go down to the sewer and you have like 3 other guys with you. And the problem people, often think is like, oh, well, like, it's a companion mission. So like if one of them dies, then the mission fails. It's like, that's rarely what you have to worry about. It's more just the enemies that can sometimes surprise you. And then if you're not prepared for it, you have to restart. You have to go down the elevator and have the cutscene, which obviously you can skip, but it can be a bit tedious for sure.
Dark Souls 1 has it in its game design where you do have to start over from each bonfire to the boss, and it's like and have that be just this long stretch. It's like, yeah, it's not really the boss that's the hard part. It's the defeat of that leads you back to the bonfire that really let you down. It's like and that's why so many people kind of give up in lore in that game.
But then in the next paragraph, he talks about how the boss battles were a highlight of the game because they forced him to snap out of autopilot mode and actually pay attention. If you were playing the game on autopilot mode, then the implication is that the game is mind-numbingly simple and a breeze to get through. You mean to tell me that you were gliding through this game hassle-free while getting mollywopped by basic enemy AI and short-circuiting your brain while trying to toss a bowling ball at a button that's less than 5 feet away? Okay, sure, get on your high horse. I'm sure your wall is flooded with participatory blue ribbons and handwritten messages that say you tried your hardest. Needless to say, this review is
Damn.
Yeah, pretty much.
good
I think he said what we're all thinking.
loathed and mocked by players all across the gaming spectrum. Thankfully, the harsh score didn't impact the game too negatively, as it sold over 1 million copies and was followed up by a spiritual successor, SpongeBob SquarePants: The Cosmic Shake.
What's this? Ooh. I'm interested now.
And lastly, we're taking a jab at IGN.
This isn't the... By the way, the guy on the right looks like he's James Rolfe's Chinese brother. I don't know. But,
wow, okay. Now, admittedly, my comment was going to be harsher, but Jesus, man.
Harsher? Oh, wow. So, oh good, I got off. Whew. All right. So, this has been shown a lot of times, so I'm guessing you do this filler content. Now it's time to dig deep.
And one more time, and looking at their now infamous review of Alien Isolation. So fun fact about me, my all-time favorite horror movie has to go to 1979's Alien. It is...
That's a very interesting choice. But you know what? I can't really disagree with him. Because it's one of the most influential and like it is really like terrifying for what it does.
You
It's
can't
the same-
disagree with him. He's just said it's his favorite. You can't. There's nothing
it's
to,
true.
to disagree with.
It's his favorite.
a
Yeah, I
fantastic
know. I
movie.
know. Yeah, but what I'm saying is it's a very good movie and it's a fair choice.
Is a masterclass of horror and science fiction, has one of the best alien designs in cinematic history, has a superlative sense of tension and dread, and some of cinema's most strikingly gorgeous cinematography. Which I find kind of funny because this is the same movie where you see a poor crew member succumb to the 5-point palm exploding heart technique, courtesy of the xenomorph erupting from his chest cavity. But what I'm trying to say is that this film is a masterpiece from beginning to end, and its success would naturally lead to sequels, merchandise, and most importantly in the context of this video, video games. For years, however, the Alien series seemed to get the short end of the stick when it came to proper video game releases, albeit with a few solid exceptions. However, all of that would eventually change when 2014 came around and blessed the world with what many fans considered to be the pinnacle of Alien video games, Alien Isolation. Jesus Christ, this game is quite possibly one of the most tense, foreboding, and nerve-wracking experiences that I have ever played. First time I played this game, I ended up with a bigger lump in my trousers than the time 16-year-old me cracked open an issue of Sports Illustrated. Plot twist, I shit myself both times. Now, despite the immense praise that Isolation received, there were two video game outlets that gave the game less than glowing praise. And you already know damn well it was IGN and GameSpot that were getting pelted with backlash. In a miraculous turn,
It doesn't surprise me. Really. Also,
Really?
also that background track, I think that's Norfair from Metroid.
No,
Yes, it is. Listen.
I don't think.
know damn well it was IGN and GameSpot that were getting pelted with backlash. In a miraculous turn of events, however, it was IGN that
Yep, that's it. It's a
okay.
it's a what do you call it? Not a remaster, but it's a re-edit. It's like a sync version of it. Sorry.
that were getting pelted with backlash. In a miraculous turn of events, however, it was IGN that came out on top as the more despised of the two. Why is this? Well, because the reviewer gave the game a 5.9 out of 10.
Sorry, I need to get that right. Because you have your Doom thing. This is Ridley's Lair, not Norfair. Sorry.
Miraculous turn of events, however, it was IGN that came out on top as the more despised of the two. Why is this? Well,
Yay.
because the reviewer
Remix.
gave the game a
Thank you.
5.9 out of 10. This was back when IGN was awarding scores with arbitrary decimal numbers for some reason. Yeah, removing that was probably one of the better decisions they could have made aside from firing a plagiarist. Now, the first half of the review is largely positive, praising the game's ominous atmosphere, the faithfulness to the source material, and of course, the highly advanced and terrifyingly unpredictable AI of the Xenomorph. Well, to an extent. More on that a little later. So what happened? Well, for starters, he makes a peculiar nitpick about the game's pacing, stating that it takes a bit longer than expected for the alien to show up and cause trouble. Granted, he does follow this up by stating that it didn't alter his overall opinion, because the game needs time to build up characters, setting, you get the gist. But in a way, that's kind of a perfect introduction to an alien game, considering that the movie progresses in a largely homogeneous fashion. You set up the film, it gets to know the characters, and then you eventually toss in the Xenomorph to integrate some tension. It's a small nitpick, I know, but it's something I wanted to point out. I'll let it slide for now. Then the reviewer continues to hammer on the praises,
Well,
stating that the game
I would actually disagree with that nitpick because, like, it doesn't take that. Well, it depends on how your progress is, but I don't think it takes that long for the alien to get there. Like, it's actually in the first probably 5% of the game that it comes out. It's just that it doesn't chase you until you actually until you come upon a crowd of people and you have to sneak through.
One thing to say about this, about 99% of your hunter's movements and actions are unscripted. I would go with 95 because there's still the little bits where the xenomorph intentionally shows up for the story.
Yeah, like the first time you encounter it is on when you're at a computer terminal and you hide underneath it and you see the alien's tail wrap around it.
Yeah.
Or the xenomorph. Sorry.
game hits its apex once the Xenomorph comes into the picture. He talks about the incredible sound design, the intense hide-and-seek gameplay with the Xenomorph, the list goes on. Okay, now
So
we're
what's the
talking. But
catch?
then, right out of the blue, the review begins to shift towards a more critical and sour tone, as the reviewer makes a fairly harsh analogy to the campaign structure by likening it to the doomed ship that the game takes place on. Firstly, he talks about the middle section of the game where you're forced into defending yourself against androids known as working Joes, as opposed to scurrying away from the Xenomorph.
Did you want to go back?
I have to disagree with this point,
Yeah.
as I actually found the working
Okay,
Joes to be
you can do
disturbing
it.
and unsettling in their own right. Sure,
Okay,
they're far less
sorry.
resilient that the game takes place on.
Oh, There it went. Unfortunately,
Okay, here we go.
Okay.
The campaign mirrors the Sevastopol itself. The longer it drags on, the more it falls apart as it begins to tumble out of orbit and towards a gas
Excuse me.
giant. Ripley's nightmare became my own as Isolation moved its goalpost back so many damn times that it was almost comical. Well, it's simply giving you different tasks to do, and the closer you get to your goal, the further away it gets dragged on, because it's supposed to replicate intensity of the situation, of just like things keep going wrong and you need to try your hardest to get past all that.
Is he
but
wait, is he talking about the pacing? Does
I think so.
Well,
unfortunately, the campaign mirrors the Sevastopol itself. The longer it drags on, the more it falls apart as it begins to
We
tunnel
just read
out
this.
towards a gas giant.
So,
I can see how. I think that is like a criticism some people have, is the game goes on. Like the pacing is a little.
Yeah, well, the pacing they talk about is near the middle, because that's where it's like you're just doing things for the station, and it feels like, man, I'm just doing stuff with the average shows, and I don't feel like I'm reaching any sort of endpoint. Like, I thought I was getting toward the end, and it feels like it feels like it goes longer than it needs to be. Yeah, I've heard that complaint from like a lot of people, including like Mandalore Gaming and stuff like that. So,
First is an oddly okay.
Oh, actually, I forgot. Go ahead.
Okay. First is an oddly extended alien free stretch midway through that pits you against aggro androids instead of organic terrors. Mercifully, the bots can be killed, but not without well-paced headshots from firearms that are cumbersome to reload. That and the scares disappear without the singularly lethal force stalking you.
Singularity.
I wouldn't say the reloads are cumbersome, tedious. They're very tedious, but that is on purpose. They're meant to be very
You're not a soldier.
stressful to reload, because most of the guns in the game, or most of the firearms or weapons in the game, have like a long reload. Example, your first gun is a revolver, and it doesn't have a speed reloader, so your character is like painstakingly shot like the 6 shots into the revolver.
Well, yeah.
So it's meant to like stress you the fuck out, because you're like, oh fuck, I didn't reload. Shit.
I also that's not the character. She's not a soldier. She's an engineer. Like
she's an engineer.
Yeah.
Every time she kills someone, she's panicking.
Yeah, it's like she's not a combat veteran. It's kind of like Silent Hill, when like, oh, what just happened? Did I just click? Where were we?
Like where we like most of the way through? I think like 28, 29 minutes.
I think
like that.
we were closer than that. I apologize. Seems
just play it.
Yeah, okay.
Gave the game a 5.9 out of 10. This was back when IGN was awarding scores with arbitrary decimal numbers for some reason. Yeah, removing that was probably one of the better decisions they could, for the alien to show up and cause trouble. Granted, he does.
What just happened?
Oh,
what?
Removing that was probably one of the better decisions they could have made, aside from firing a plagiarist. Now, the first half of the granted, he does follow this up by stating that it didn't alter his overall opinion, because let it slide for now. Then the reviewer continues to hammer on the praises, stating that the game hits its apex once the Xenomorph comes into the picture. He talks about the incredible sound design, the intense hide-and-seek gameplay with the Xenomorph, the list goes on. Okay, now we're talking. But then, right out of the blue, the review begins to shift towards a more critical and sour tone, as the reviewer makes a fairly harsh analogy to the campaign structure by likening it to the doomed ship that the game takes place on. Firstly, he talks about the middle section of the game where you're forced into defending yourself against androids known as Working Joes, as opposed to scurrying away from the Xenomorph. Now, honestly, I have to disagree with this point, as I actually found the Working Joes to be disturbing and unsettling in their own right. Sure, they're far less resilient than the almighty Xenomorph, but it's not like they're pushovers. The reviewer then complains about the game trying to be a first-person shooter when it's not. The fact of the matter is that you're given weapons that, for the most part, affect the Xenomorph about as much as a flirtatious smack smack on the arm. Except instead of ending with a kiss on the cheek or a one-night stand, you're met with head trauma that somehow surpasses the destructive force of a migraine. If you weren't able to
interesting
use those
thing is
weapons
they
on
really
enemies
could
that could
have.
actually be negatively impacted.
Hey, you guys.
Like interesting thing is if they really
Mhm.
could have made the xenomorph killable, but made ammo and like it made it hard to kill. And especially because the game throws multiple xenomorphs at you later on. So they really could have just made the xenomorph killable but hard to kill, so conserving ammo was useful. And instead your flamethrower was useful for fending them off initially. And the game it would have been if the game was to start
You
and
were
instead it's like a
roboting really
late game
hard.
thing.
Is he?
Yeah,
He's
for
doing,
me, he
he's
is.
doing fine.
A little bit.
He's doing fine for me.
Oh, okay. My bad. All right. Yeah, I guess you could, but I don't see what the real problem is yet necessarily. But like, all right. Let me put it back a little bit.
Enemies that could actually be negatively impacted, I'd argue that, with the exception of the flamethrower, the inclusion of weapons would be asinine and completely fruitless. However, as the review continues, you begin to notice some questionable critiques, to say the least. For example, he notes that the fear he experienced quickly turned into frustration after the xenomorph discovered him while he was stealthily hidden away in an air duct. Okay, sure, I'll give you that. However, while watching the footage, you can clearly see that the reviewer has his motion detector enabled, which, if you didn't know, emits a sound that can actually attract the xenomorph if it's nearby, unveiling that the reviewer was complaining over an issue that he himself was the sole cause of. Oh, and remember earlier when he was praising how unpredictable and spine-tingling the xenomorph was? Well, throw that out the goddamn window, because the reviewer decides that the difficulty of contending with the xenomorph is just too daunting and difficult. And to that I say, have you ever seen Alien? The point of isolation is that it essentially grants the player the opposite of a power fantasy, and lets you quake in the boots of someone trying to escape the clutches of an apex otherworldly predator. It emphasizes the survival aspect of a survival horror game, and damn near perfectly encapsulates the terror of the first movie to a T. The xenomorph is supposed to be this daunting and damn near indestructible force of nature. Hell, in the final verdict, he actually deducts points due to how difficult and adept the xenomorph AI is at tracking down the player. And
Frustrating
look, I get
AI.
it. Kirby's
Okay.
Dreamland, this
Frustrating AI smart 0 out of 10.
Yeah, it's kind of. I think I understand what he's saying. It's the whole. I should say the guy in the video is trying to say with it. It's like frustrating AI. It's like, well, it's one creature that is probably one of the most complex AIs we have in gaming since like Fear. It's like it's you versus him, and you're probably going to win because, well, through persistence alone. So, yeah, I don't think it's unfair that this thing can like act like a real like animal sometimes. You know, it's like it's meant to hunt you down. Of course, it's frustrating.
Yeah, notably, the xenomorph AI is often considered by many as one of the best like horror AI because it's like
Mhm.
it's like devilishly intelligent at times. It can bait you. It can bait you into like coming out of hiding just and fucking murk you.
Well, I've seen that sometimes where it will leave the door and then like, I mean it will go outside the door of like of one of the hospital things, and you're inside the closet. Oh my gosh, like one of the lockers, and then you come out, and then he just comes right back in, and it's like, haha, gotcha. It's like, well, that because he heard you, not because he saw you, but it's like you need to make sure that he's gone, like.
game is not. It's a grueling, unflinchingly brutal, intense experience throughout, but the overwhelming difficulty just works so flawlessly because it's an alien game. If this anemic, gangly-armed extraterrestrial bulldog wasn't intimidating in the slightest, the game wouldn't be nearly as compelling as it is. What I also find so odd about this review is that early on he mentioned that the game is a substantial improvement over the notoriously flawed Aliens Colonial Marines, a game that, by virtue of a typo in the game's code,
I love how it's
What happened?
there.
It was what happened with that, by the way? It was a typo in the game's code that resulted in what?
That precedent in the AI being dumb.
It was just one problem.
Yeah,
But fuck
well,
me. Those things.
I
those
guess
things
they were
fall
using
through.
JavaScript because that's how that works.
Yeah, I remember doing JavaScript and just doing messing up one line of script will just mess everything up.
Dude, putting the wrong like syntax will do that. It's like if you put if somewhere else where it doesn't need to be, it doesn't work. So it's like thanks.
Wait. That's not to say Isolation is anywhere near as bad as Colonial Marines, but its crime is equally egregious. Equally egregious.
Yeah, okay, dude. You don't know. Some people shouldn't write.
Flawed Aliens Colonial Marines, a game that, by virtue of a typo in the game's code, caused xenomorphs to exhibit about as much intimidation and lethality as me in a vibrant pink jumpsuit with a single-shot Nerf gun. It doesn't help that I'm roughly 5'4" to 5'6", depending on whether or not I'm using my tiptoes or wearing boots. So in that case, why did IGN give Colonial Marines a 5?
As much as I like your jokes, that one fell flat.
Yeah.
That was way too descriptive.
Why did IGN give Colonial Marines a 5 while Isolation was given a 5.9? There is no way on God's green earth that you can convince me that Alien Isolation, arguably one of the greatest horror games ever conceived, is only marginally better than this absolute clusterfuck. All in all, this review sent shockwave through the community. Some people even reported they initially refrained from playing Isolation.
Hold on, I gotta.
This review,
Let's go back and
let's
go back and see that again.
No, you fucking.
Its apex once the pushovers. They're right out the goddamn
I did
window.
it again.
The difficulty just works so flawless. Nerf gun. It doesn't help that I'm roughly 5'4" to 5'6", depending on whether or not I'm using my tiptoes or wearing boots. So in that case, why did IGN give Colonial Marines a 5 while Isolation was given a 5.9? There is no way on God's green earth that you can convince me that Alien Isolation, arguably one of the greatest horror games ever conceived, is only marginally better than this absolute cluster.
That just looks like, you know what that reminds me of? The WB Frog. Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey.
Well, actually, I was gonna mention that the reason I laugh so much is because I can't see that clip without hearing that music. Hello, my baby. Hello, my.
Oh
honey.
yeah,
Hello,
of course.
yeah.
Spaceballs. Spaceballs. What did I think of that? Yeah.
Well, also because this video that he's showing does play that music when they see the xenomorph.
I saw this in an Angry Joe's review. Yeah, like.
Yeah.
Clusterfuck. Clusterfuck. All in all, this review sent shockwaves throughout the community, and some people even reported that they initially refrained from playing Isolation because of this review, only to become pleasantly surprised at just how incredible the game truly was when they finally got their hands on it. Thankfully, Alien Isolation has received nothing but immense praise over the years, with many deeming it as one of the greatest survival horror games ever made, and some even referring to it as one of the greatest video games ever made at point blank period. In October of 2024, it was announced that the game would finally be receiving a long-awaited sequel, and it's only a matter of time.
What are you talking about? It did get a sequel. It got a mobile.
Oh, that's right.
Sequel.
Yeah, it got a Five Nights at Freddy's sequel. Yeah.
It got a fucking FNAF clone.
Yeah.
As a sequel.
By the way, just because people say it's a masterpiece and whatever doesn't make it so. Just because IGN said the opposite. Let's make that clear.
It's been a long time since I played the game. I should probably give it a replay one of these days.
Isolation?
Yeah.
I can never be compelled to play it because the save system annoys me. But, oh well, that's just me.
Fair.
Before we get to screech down the hallways of a doomed space vessel while scrambling to outrun a xenomorph once more. Hopefully the game outlets are able to step up their game the second time around. Let's check out that GameSpot review. I mean, yeah, it's flawed, but surely it's a bit more reasonable and fair in its critiques.
The game is devoted to door opening, lever pulling, and walking. So very much walking and backtracking. So many old and predictable video game cliches.
Alright, I'm fucking...
Did it just stop? Wait, what?
Yeah, I think it stopped.
Oh.
What the fuck? Did it just start?
What happened?
That wasn't me, was it?
I heard it sounded like the music from one of the Watch Together shorts.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you click on one of them by accident?
No.
Hold on. Let me see if that's how the video ended. Hold on.
Okay, hold on. Well, we can just go back to it real quick.
Yeah. Skip to the end.
Wait, it's sequel, and it's only a matter
backtracking. So many
old
and predictable video game cliches.
Alright, I'm fucking done.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how it ended.
It was.
It has a like and subscribe at the end, but that's essentially.
All right, I'm getting out of here before I do any more damage.
Okay.
Okay, there you go. What an interesting
that-
video. I don't think that was that bad of a video, really. I think it was a pretty good video, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, he spent about 5 to 6 minutes on each.
Yeah, it doesn't give you all the detail, but it gives you enough detail to realize what a bunch of hacks they are. And you know what? I think he optimized that time really well. So it's like, all right, you see, this is how you do short videos. Like, do better.
Well, it's like a 30-minute video, but yeah.
You know what I mean? Each section, it's like he optimized his time, and he probably when making a script or whatever he's about to say, he probably like what do I want to hit on? What are the primary points I need to make sure I include? It's like really quickly, and he boiled them all down probably.
Yeah, I ultimately favor long videos if they have something to say, like, you know, Mahler videos and stuff like that. But if they're like I don't know, a Patrick Willems train video that goes on for way too fucking long without adding anything interesting or introspective to say, then don't fucking make the video that long.
Yeah, because long is not equal bad. It's not the thing. You can be efficient and long. Because
Yeah.
there's just that much to say.
Yeah.
So it's, and sometimes, oh no, you repeat yourself. It's like, if it needs to be saying, I don't see anything wrong with repeating yourself. So yeah, that was it.
Yep,
Any
that
any
one, that one. Yep. Any final thoughts?
Yeah.
Vic, are you there, or are you still muted?
Oh. I guess. Oh yeah. I
I'm
can't.
here. I'm here.
He was doing gaming. Okay.
No, I had stuff to do. I was
Oh, okay,
specifically
that's fine.
taking pictures of my puppies.
Oh my gosh, puppers. But like,
All
yeah,
right.
that was a neat video.
Any closing thoughts for that video?
It was a good
It,
video.
it,
I
it's
liked
a
it.
good video, but Christ almighty, those reviews.
Those are what?
What?
Those reviews. Those reviews.
Oh
were so-
yeah.
Quite entertaining.
Very
I
entertaining.
feel no
Yeah.
man, but
What did
that
I call
thing
this again?
scares me.
What did I call this again? Oh man. I wish I could go online and check it out. Oh wait, I can.
I have seen a few of this guy's videos before this day, but I will say his channel is good. It's good.
Yeah.
There are some videos that aren't needed. Like there's a video where he's like scariest moments in video games, and they could just be very light moments, honestly.
Well, those
Yeah.
that was a bad video. Like no offense to this guy, but like man, it wasn't, it was just like things he found personally scary, and it's like I don't get it. Like, all right.
But no, this video was good. I like this video.
Yeah,
Very informative.
very informative, but like not much to say to work on, except like just because people say the opposite. Oh, bye.
Oh, there goes Shep.
Yep. Just because you say
There he
the
goes.
opposite with
he said he said he had to go. All
oh,
right.
it's cool. Cool, it's cool.
Yes. Yeah.
And like I said before, just because someone says the opposite of what a game journalist says doesn't mean you're correct. Like, you need to make sure, like, have your dot your I's pretty much. Like, have a free thinking brain.
Yep.
Because like sometimes the game journalists can be right. I know.
Occasionally.
Yeah. The broken clock analogy, like
Yeah.
here, like so yeah, I think the and does anyone have an update or two for the end?
Well, Friday I'm going to go see You could probably, if plans don't change, expect a video on Friday of me and Dex talking about the How to Train Your Dragon remake.
Oh boy.
How do we feel about that? How do we feel about How to
That's
Train Your
gonna
Dragon remake?
be.
It's just being made. Like, I don't like it. We were watching How to
It's
Train
gonna
Your
be
Dragon
bad.
last night, and it was like some of those scenes were high fidelity enough that I'm like, okay, it's almost real life, except for the characters because they have big eyes and stuff. You know, yeah, sure. But it's like, and now they're making that live action just to double dip, and it's like it's
If it turns out to just be a 1-to-1 remake, of just the exact same film but in live action, then I will have a problem of why did you even make this to begin with?
Oh, absolutely. That'd be my issue. Like, why'd you do it? Oh yeah, because you wanted to double dip your money. You wanted to be like, haha, we get more money.
Yeah.
It's like it's just greed. DreamWorks, I
A
thought you were
lot
made
of
of
the
sterner
time,
stuff.
yeah. It's a shame too. I get what the creator of like How to Train Your Dragon is trying to do in the sense that he wants more. He just look like if it's something that's related to a movie, that he'll just do it himself. But at the same time, it's a little disappointing that has to be the case in the place.
Don't like the it's
I have
it's
heard that
it's very
the
cynical.
actress for I have heard
Mhm.
that the actress for Astrid is kind of getting harassed because she's not the same ethnicity as the Astrid in the Works movie.
Well, yeah, I have problems against certain race swappings, but yeah, don't
They're
harass
Vikings.
the don't harass the actress.
Yeah, of course.
If she's not a good actress, then I can criticize her acting and stuff like that. But if she does prove to be a worthwhile Astrid, then I won't have much issues with the race swapping other than they're in the fucking Viking age and she's,
She's like, how'd you guys get her? Who's her
how'd
mother?
you get her?
Like, yeah, it's like that's mysterious. But I know people. It's a diversity hire because we need to see ourselves and stuff like that. Like,
Well, we don't know. We don't know quite yet if she's a diversity hire, unless we see her performance. I will be the judge of that.
Well, diversity hire doesn't mean that they're unqualified. That's not what that means.
I guess not.
No, of course not. Like, but I'm just saying it's like there are like diversity quotas. That is a thing, but it's like, but sometimes they don't even have to be in front of the camera to be counted. Like you could have like I know my friend Katie said she was on the set of Sister Sister as a diversity hire. But she wasn't on camera. She just needed to be there on set. So it's like, Aaron, you just stand behind the camera and all right, you can leave. Like it's like all right. So oh, like yeah, like because they all have a quota. You just may not see it. So yeah, I'm still working on my Buffy the Body video. It's taken a while. It's tough. It's tough emotionally. If you know,
I've heard very good. I've heard very good things about that specific episode.
It's one of the best episodes of TV ever made. I will hype it up that much.
High praise. That's
yeah, it really is. Like I'm not being hyperbolic. Like I've never seen anyone react to it. They all react the same way because there's nothing to do except react in that way. Like it tears people apart inside. But anyways, well, I should say in a good way, because it's like, man, it's really masterfully done, but it makes you feel really crappy.
Like, really? Like, what do you mean crappy?
Well, it makes you feel sad and depressed. Like the body is an episode about a loss of a loved one. So yeah, and it shows what happens to the body. Like, I don't want to see that. So, anyways, I'm still working on that, and I'm doing the breakdown. I'm halfway done to audio, and the video stuff. I just have to make sure. I just have to plug it in to the thing, to the timeline, and all that stuff. It's going to be great. It will be out someday. I am working on it. I'm not just lying. It'll probably take me
You'll
another
get there.
month to get it out. Who knows? And then I'll do the next episode I want to break down is the Once More with Feeling. Another great episode. But like, so yeah, that's it. I will see you guys later.
Yep. All of you have a great day or night.
Whatever.
It's the morning for me.